Records fell aplenty yesterday as we crowned 11 of our 38 championships to be awarded. That means another 27 today, plus, of course, the 2 team titles. Not just Big 12 records fell, but collegiate, national, and some pretty impressive world performances as well. Lincoln Rose, JoJo Gretschel, and JoJo, what a fun finish it was yesterday. Ruth Usoro, of course, the number 2 performance in the world already this year with that 6.82 long jump performance. What a great way to end our day 1 coverage. In a moment, we'll see the team standings, but this is going to be just nonstop podium finishes. A lot of championships up for grabs today.
That's right. Ruth Usoro, great finish yesterday, and she'll have a chance today to repeat her double gold from last year. She'll be chasing after that triple jump victory as well, helping Texas State take the early lead after day 1.
Red Raiders of Texas Tech took not just Ruth Usoro's gold, but also a bronze in that long jump, which launched them into first, K-State in second, your 3-time defending champions Longhorns in 4th. But they probably have a lot of noise they think that they can make today. Oklahoma State right now in line for a team finish at 3rd. But we mentioned a lot can change early and often throughout this day with plenty of titles up for grabs. Take a look at how things finished for the men. It was Texas after some pole vault finishes that were able to launch them up to the top spot ahead of our host, Texas Tech. Those Red Raiders are going to do their best to make sure that those trophies are staying right here in their home of Lubbock. Well, just moments ago, we had yet another championship. It's the 60-meter hurdles. So many marquee performers on display. I know you had your eyes on the talented freshman for Baylor, who just got edged out, ultimately, as the Longhorns come through with more points on the women's side.
That's right. Yesterday, Karen Nugent of Baylor, a true freshman, turned heads by equaling the world junior record in the 60-meter hurdles. But today she was just edged out by Chanel Brissett of Texas, 7:89, the current college leader, ahead of 7:98. And that's also faster. Brissett's time is faster than Nugent ran yesterday, which was a 7:90. So 2 of the top performers in the NCAA this year in Brissett and Nugent. Incredible run.
Yeah, what a way to get started. Longhorns take 3 of the top 4 spots for more critical points on the women's side. And you're going to see a lot of this after we see the women show off an event. The men will then subsequently follow. Here is your 8-man assignment for the men's 60-meter hurdles here on Championship Saturday. As you see Foster there for Oklahoma in lane 1. A teammate of his who you won't see here, but in Livingston, who really had a great performance, top 4 in every 60-meter hurdle event this year. Won't see him today. Foster for Oklahoma, the senior, joined by another senior in Kendall from Texas Tech. Your lone freshman in the field will be Cameron Wilmington for the Jayhawks in lane 2. You get a look there at the Red Raider here on his home track. It'll be Kendall's 6th time to run this year in a meet here at home. Texas Tech had 5 meets that they were able to successfully get in. All of them were understandably here in Lubbock, knowing that they'd be hosting the championships for a 2nd time in 3 years.
Now, Kendall's season best is a 7:95, but he has run 7:74. That was a year ago at the Texas Tech shootout. So he'll be trying to improve that season's best.
Yeah, his collegiate best is 7.74. Both of those marks are the best in this field among the 8 men competing today. You see, again, 60-meter hurdles. Brockman among your elder statesmen. At a 7.97 in the prelims.
And just for reference here, to make the NCAA Indoor Championship, an athlete, according to the current rankings, would have to run 7.8 or faster to get into that top 16 to advance to nationals.
Sean Jones in his junior campaign, his collegiate best is 7.91. Saw him qualify with a 7.94. Again, we saw so many personal bests yesterday, and we expect to see more individuals pushing themselves performances they have yet to see before. And we look forward to, in a moment, expanding our horizons beyond this 60-meter hurdle track. We'll be taking you on a tour around this facility with all the championship events underway.
One key thing to remember about the facility here in Lubbock, Texas, is that the city is at slightly over 3,000 feet of elevation. So while that can negatively affect some of the distance performances, it actually helps these sprinters get a little bit of a speed boost. So we're definitely expect to see some fast times in the short events today.
We'll be back here on this 60-meter track once they remove the hurdles in a little bit as well for the men's championship. And then we'll get into a little bit longer distance runs, the mile for the women and men, again coming up later today, along with some mid-distance competitions. You can see in the backdrop the triple jump, which is well underway for the women and men as well. Great to have you with us today here on Big 12 Now. Again, Lincoln Rose, JoJo Gretschel, our entire Big 12 Now crew in Lubbock. Let's take a peek into the cage. Just a moment ago, this is your clincher for the Jayhawks and the women's shot put. As the senior Milyanov with a collegiate best performance. Again, you're going to hear us saying a lot of that. 16.74 the toss. Jayhawks are wearing their championship blue and pinks today, women and men alike. Gets them in the mindset of competing for the hardware. And of course, we're mindful, all the cheering you hear is from teammates, coaches, staff, for Big 12 to believe they could execute this safely. Nobody in attendance. And so we certainly realize our expanded audience includes family members and friends tuning in. Hopefully we'll let you catch a glance of your loved ones. And we certainly know you're following along on the live stats as well, religiously. So these are your 8 men competing in the 60-meter hurdles. The meet record is a 7.59. The record here on this track is even faster at 7.52. JoJo, you mentioned the implications of the elevation. Let's see if any of these men can take advantage and capture a gold along the way.
It's worth noting that of this field, only 3 men returned from last year's final. As we mentioned earlier, Malik Kendall of Texas Tech is the top returner. He took the silver medal in this event last year. Also returning from that 8-man final, Elijah Morris, now a sophomore for Baylor, and Donovan Turner, now a sophomore for Kansas State. So this is a pretty new-looking field compared to a year ago.
Only school double dipping with a pair of Bears is Baylor. See if the numbers game can add up for them with both Jones and Morris, the junior and sophomore respectively. About a minute away from hearing the gun. Of course, when you look at the national standings on the men's side, Texas Tech ranked 7th in the country. Longhorns at 11, Iowa State 14. You have Oklahoma, TCU, K-State all in the top 25. No program got in more competition this year than K-State with 10. We saw some programs like Oklahoma State, West Virginia, TCU just squeeze in 3 meets. Some groups of the Cyclones for Iowa State only got in 1. So for a lot of men, this is one of their first competitions of the year.
And we take a look now at our record board. Notably, Grant Holloway, the collegiate record holder for Florida, running 7:35 2 years ago, recently set the overall world record in this event.
Of course, the Big 12, as we've already seen, no stranger, not just being some of the best in the country, but some of the best in the world. We'll have a chance to look back at some of yesterday's jaw-dropping performances. Championship up for grabs, 60-meter hurdles for the men. And a fantastic finish.
Looks like Deshaun Jones of Baylor. He's definitely...
It is Jones followed by Kendall. The Bear, 0.03 better than Kendall, and it took a career best performance from the Bear to take the gold. Rainey Anderson will round out the podium, claiming third, just ahead of Donovan Turner of K-State on the outside. But Deshaun Jones, your 2021 champ in the 60-meter hurdles.
Gotta love those championship reactions. You know, this event means so much to these athletes. Of course, it always means a lot to come to a championship, but to be not able to compete for a whole year, these athletes are really raring to go, and you love to see that.
Again, we won't have individual podium award ceremonies this year, but we will have the team titles at the end of last year. Well, we just saw the men's 60-meter hurdles a moment ago. If you didn't blink, we had the women's 60-meter hurdles. As let's check in with one of our first champions on today, as Ms. Brissett is adding some critical points for the three-time defending champ standings.
Congratulations, Chanel. What does it mean to you to lead Texas into day 2 with the win?
It feels so good just to be able to do my part for my team. You know, we work so hard, and I just want to make sure that I can contribute the best way possible.
What were your thoughts heading into today? Did you expect to come away with the individual win?
I prayed for it, I hoped for it. I just thought, you know, stay focused, make sure that you have a really good warm-up, and just stay sharp throughout the entire day, and just make sure that you stay focused on the finish.
How do you feel about the run itself?
I feel so amazing. I have not PR'd in 2 years, you know. I've been injured a few times, and I've been just back and forth, you know, doing good and not doing good. So it just feels great to finally have this breakthrough, and I'm just so blessed, and I'm so glad that, you know, I could come away with a win and a PR.
That's right. Congratulations. Great job today, and good luck with the rest of the day.
Thank you.
Chanel led 2 of her other teammates, 3 of the top 4 finishes. Again, that's a lot of points for Texas.
An incredible run for Chanel. She kind of alluded to this, but spent some time at USC before transferring to Texas, and obviously these late transfers in the past year had to sit out for so long because of the pandemic before they could even wear that new team's uniform.
Men's triple jump, you just saw Jelani Davis move himself up into, I believe, 4th at the moment, as this is their 6th and final effort. And with a 15.62 effort, they'll actually stay right in 4th. So just a couple men left. And let's check in with our first Baylor Bear on the day, another 60-meter hurdles champion in his own right. JoJo?
Congratulations, Deshaun. How are you feeling about the victory today?
Overwhelmed. It's been a long season, tough season, but adversity, overcome it, just continue to be great. Feels great.
Coming into this weekend, did you think you were capable of taking away the individual win?
I wouldn't say I was nervous. Like I didn't have my doubts, but considering that I didn't have a fall, a mid-semester transfer came in as soon as the season started, battling injury early on in the year. I only had 1 month of full practice. I knew what I was capable of, but I didn't know how it was just going to turn out this weekend. And I just came out here trusting my training, put God first, put my faith in God, and just ran to the best of my ability. And the results showed itself. Came out with the dub.
Wow, what kind of injury did you overcome?
I kind of rushed myself, like I'm running myself into shape, and I kind of rushed it. And it was like a hip flexor injury, and it was kind of bugging me in the beginning. I couldn't run to the best of my ability. And it was kind of getting me down, but really I just tried to stay grounded, stay humble, and continue to work and rehabilitate, and here I am.
And going through the challenges of this past year, has that changed your mindset when it comes to track and athletics at all?
Considering that I have never really dealt with an injury, it puts in perspective that things do happen, and when those things do happen, you just got to roll with the punches, roll with the flow, and just continue to keep your faith to God. Always keep your faith to God, because at the end of the day, it's you and Him.
Well, congratulations. Amazing job today. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So both 60-meter hurdles champions, great to catch up with them. Again, we will point out that for Brissett, her effort is 6th in the world and the best collegiate effort we've seen on the year. Well, we get the hurdles out of the way, and we expect the times to be that much faster. Women and men's 60-meter dashes coming up next here on Big 12 Now. We'll point out men's triple jump a moment ago. Dumapea from TCU lived up to the hype as DO Airlines only needed one jump to ultimately capture the gold, and the full 10 points for TCU. Got a 16.55, not even a personal best in his first effort. Never needed to complete a jump the rest of the way as he would sail to a gold. K-State and Texas Tech on the men's side picking up silver and bronze in that event. But again, here we back are on the fast track, the 60-meter dash for the women.
Now, this race is interesting. Last year's champion, Julian Alfred, has actually competed this year and owns she owns the leading time in the Big 12, as well as one of the top NCAA times in the 60-meter dash, 7:15. But she opted not to travel this weekend with Texas, so it's going to be up to teammates Kavana Davis and Kennedy Flannel to get some points on the board for the Longhorns. I asked Edric Florial, the head coach of Texas, why Julian wasn't with us today. She's run so fast this season, and he said she's resting up for the national championship.
Yeah, she was one of the performers of the year last year. She claimed the women's honors. Underway, 60-meter dash for the women here in the Big 12 with a gold medal on the line.
And that looks like it could be a Texas one, too.
You had Davis and Flannel out there running side by side in lanes 4 and lanes 5. We'll wait for confirmation.
This is going to be a dynamic duo for the Longhorns, also to the top entrance in that women's 200 meters.
It is Kennedy Flannel, the junior, 7.25, who edges her teammate, who also had a 7.25 for a collegiate best. So Longhorns do go 1 and 2. Monet Nichols, the Red Raider, will claim bronze, just ahead of Sydney Washington for Baylor.
We could see a very similar race in about 2 hours from now in that women's 200 final, because these two women are also top ranked in that event. Incredible start of the day for the Longhorns, who look to put a lot of points up on the board in these sprint events.
Yeah, Texas has just taken the team lead, no surprise, on the women's side. 71.5 team points ahead of Texas Tech with 63 now. That's probably going to be one of your big battles on the day, whether either of the men's or women's trophies can stay here in Lubbock. We'll try to catch up with Kennedy in a little bit. There you see the updated women's standings, factoring in both Flannel and Davis capturing critical points for the Longhorns. On the men's side, it's also the Red Raiders and the Longhorns battling it out right now.
And to put those times into perspective, Kennedy Flannel, our champion today, she's already run 7.23 this year, so not quite a season's best for her. But Kavana Davis joins her on that ranking of athletes who are now provisionally qualified for the national championship. So 7.25 ties her for number 10 in college.
And we do have Kennedy with a microphone in hand. JoJo?
Congratulations, Kennedy. Great job today. What was your strategy heading into this race with Kavana?
We'll have a couple of technical issues to work out before we are able to hear Kennedy. Is looking live right now at the women's triple jump. And our producer will... all right, now we're good to go. JoJo?
Congratulations, Kennedy. Can you tell us about your strategy heading into today's final?
I was just working on pushing out of the blocks, working on my first 20, and just trying to stay with the pack because my start usually isn't that well. And just staying with Kev, making sure she stays next to me too, and just fighting to the end, really.
How do you feel about starting the day off with a 1-2 performance with your teammate?
It's good. We were talking about the points right before we got on the track. We knew we were going to go 1-2. We just had to get it done. And I think it's good confidence going into the 2.
Yeah. Do you think you guys can do the same thing there?
Oh, of course. I think it's good competing against your teammates, having them as your competition, good camaraderie. And she's so young. It's just like we go out there and we have fun. So I'm excited to run the 200 too.
And are you having to step into more of a leadership role this weekend? I know Julie and Alfred stayed at home this weekend, so what's that been like for you?
Yeah, really all year. I'm considered an upperclassman now. It's my junior year. It's a lot of incoming freshmen, a lot of new faces. So just being a leader on the team, trying to balance being a leader and worry about myself and my personal success as well, but just making time for them while also perfecting my craft as well.
Do you have any time goals for that 200 final today?
Yes. I want to break the record for sure. I don't want to equal it. I want to break it, but I need to get in the 22 mids today. Hopefully my body recovers. I'm a little tight, but hopefully I can just go out there and get it done.
Okay, awesome. Well, sounds like we have a great race to look forward to. Congratulations again, and good luck this afternoon.
Thank you.
Congratulations to Kennedy, again your champ in the 60-meter dash here in 2021. Her teammate, the young freshman, as she alluded to, Kavana Davis, helping push her, claims silver. Monet Nichols for the Red Raiders again takes bronze. In a moment it'll be the men's 60-meter dash. We mentioned the men's triple jump has already concluded with Do Airlines, Do Mapaya capturing the gold handily for the Horned Frogs. Still watching the women's triple jump, where right now it should be Alana Lee, the junior for Oklahoma. She's just now completing her 3rd round, sitting in 10th at the moment with a best performance of 12.8. No shortage of Sooners competing for points here in this event for the women. As a team. And here is Do Airlines offering direct flights from Fort Worth to Lubbock.
With the backwards hat, too. It's got to be the best nickname in track and field.
That was his 1st round jump. He had a foul in the 2nd round, and he passed the rest of the way, all the way to a gold medal. Now back to Alex Madlock, senior for Baylor.
Now she's another one who we saw compete in last night's long jump final. Took 10th place in that event.
Due for TCU, of course, from Zimbabwe. Set a couple of records here in Lubbock earlier this year, including the best performance in the nation with a 16.85 coming into this championship. That is where we stand right now in the women's triple jump with a pair of Wildcats. Again, K-State's going to be our gracious host for the outdoor track and field titles. That's an event we missed out on due to the pandemic last year. And that means there's a whole lot of folks who aren't eligible for the indoor meet this weekend, but we'll see them right back suited up wearing their school colors this spring.
And here's my Keisha Welcome, the sophomore from Oklahoma.
Of course, yesterday we were looking at this pit with the long jump when Ruth Usoro was world class on her final effort of the night before they turned out the lights.
In very dramatic fashion.
We'll be able to look back at that in a moment. That helped launch the women of Texas Tech overnight into the top spot. Right now, Texas Tech women sitting in 2nd, Oklahoma women in 5th. Let's tee things up now for the men's sprint 60 meters. We just saw the UT women a moment ago winning the 60-meter dash for the 7th time in the past 7 years. We got 4 Horned Frogs filling up half of the 8 lanes, including Mr. Brock. It's going to be obviously one of your favorites. But this is one of those events that just reminds you how good the Big 12 is. There are a lot of very impressive sprinters who could not even make it into this final, despite some incredible showings this year. And that's just the nature of the Big 12.
That's right. TJ Brock in his 2nd year for TCU after starting his college career at USC.
He took silver in this event last year, wound up being an All-American. And he would PR with a 6.61 during the course of that campaign. You mentioned former Trojan when he helped win a Pac-12 championship. His dad, Tarek, first base coach up with the Pirates, wishes he could send some runners over to 2nd and 3rd into scoring position who are as fast as his son.
Definitely some athletic genes. His dad also played in the MLB. By a personal best, it would seem TJ's 6.61 would make him a favorite, but a lot of these guys are pretty close on their season's best, and with such a short race, there's a lot that can happen.
So again, 4 Horned Frogs. Bear, Red Raider, Sooner, and Longhorn. Brock in lane 4. Another championship about to be decided in less than 7 seconds. Underway with the 60-meter dash here in 2021. And hello, Jacoby Shelton.
6.63, it looks like, is the final time. A season's best for the Texas Tech junior.
Your lone Red Raider will take the gold. Adianga for TCU takes silver. Demarius Smith for the Sooners will claim bronze. Just edging Camden Jackson of Baylor.
He was 4th in the final last year, so big improvement for Shelton.
And that's going to increase Texas Tech's lead on the men's side in the team standings. And Jacoby Shelton built as if he could probably run through that wall if he had wanted to. Incredible.
He ended up winning that pretty dominantly.
And he almost got to our interview station as quickly as he got to the finish line.
Yeah.
And women's triple jump still underway. All right, more critical points for Texas Tech, thanks to that 60-meter dash run by Jacoby, and it was a no-doubter at the finish line, JoJo.
Congratulations, Jacoby. How does it feel to win a Big 12 title today?
It feel real good. Like, I'm really blessed today. I asked God to just let me execute my race. I had a lot going on this season. I was in a boot. I had COVID. I only ran 3 meets out of the 7 meets we had this year. First 2 meets I came back, I didn't really get to practice. My times wasn't where they were from my freshman or sophomore year, which were amazing. So I was just trying to, execute. I knew coming into Big 12s we was going to be down a little bit. We ain't have a lot of people that we should have right now running, so I had to, it's always next man up, so I had to step up.
Did you feel like you had a home track advantage today?
I never really look at it as a home track advantage, but, you know, when somebody coming into your home, your turf, you always got to, you know, support. You always got to bring the energy because you can't let nobody come into your house and, you know, take it. So.
Yeah. And what was it like to come back from COVID and compete at a high level in the sprints again? How long has it been that you've kind of felt like yourself again?
When I first came back, I thought I felt like myself, but not really. I was a little unsure, but I never really like to doubt myself. Be like, nah, I don't really feel like myself. But I thought I was feeling pretty good. I only went to practice 2 days and ran in the meet that week. But like I said, you know, I wasn't hitting any marks or anything that I should have been hitting. The next week I got a little better. Time dropped like 7 seconds in the 60. And then this week, when my time dropped, my 67 I ran for prelims was the first ever time I ever ran as a freshman when I got here. So I was like, okay, I feel that's telling me that I'm back to me. So, you know, finals come around, just as long as I'm feeling good, I'm going to drop something even faster.
Yeah, sometimes just getting in that championship environment again is enough to get that competitive fire going. What would it mean to you to help Texas Tech win the team title this weekend on your home turf?
It would mean a lot. It would mean a lot because coming to my freshman year, I had to run behind Devine and Andrew Hudson. And those two, everybody knows Devine and AJ. Those two, they were dominating, excellent sprinters, like very dominant, excellent sprinters. And for me to be a freshman and be able to run with those two and learn so much, and also, you know, be able to keep up with them as a freshman in college. And I had never ran indoor ever in my life. It was exciting. So I knew, you know, going on sophomore, junior, senior year, I would be, you know, something very dominant as well.
Well, I see you're in that 200-meter final later today. What's your goal in that event?
I don't know. I would say to go 20-point. I don't usually always run a 200 much. I kind of favor the 60. So doing an indoor, I usually probably run a 200 once or twice the whole year and just drop a time and be okay. But to probably go 20-point would be just the best thing for me today.
Okay, great. Awesome. Well, congratulations on your win. Good luck in that 200. We'll see you later.
Thank you.
Thank you. You heard Mr. Shelton drop some impressive names there. He becomes the third Red Raider in the last 4 collegiate lead. And this is, again, the triple jump today, where Usoro is going to eventually just have this pit in her backyard named after her. So we'll shift from the pit back to the oval for the first time today. Let's tee it up for the women's mile, shall we?
We have 12 women in the mile final today. Carson Hawker-Smith of Oklahoma, Avril Johnson of Kansas, Hannah Stewart of Kansas State, Celia Holmes of Baylor, Haley Jackson of West Virginia, who's on that winning DMR team last night, Taylor Rowe of Oklahoma State, Gracie Morris of Texas, Heidi DeMio of Oklahoma State, Alexis Spartan of Kansas, Summer Herner of Kansas, Kara Melgaris of Kansas State, and Brina Kraft for Iowa State.
Yeah, Catherine Gillespie not back this year for the Longhorns. She won this title last year as one of the 3 events she won to have a 4-way tie for top points earner on the women's side.
We'll see her back in action for the Longhorns during the outdoor season.
And last year's 800 meters, mile, and DMR, and as JoJo again pointed out, when we refer to somebody as a sophomore, junior, or senior, I'm more impressed when we talk to somebody and they know what their classification is at this point, because that is different for indoors and outdoors for a lot of these men and women.
That's right, and everyone's got that extra COVID year of eligibility now, so we might see some of these athletes for 6 years in college.
The record was set 12 years ago by Jenny Behringer, who also had the collegiate national mark. The facility record was only set back in 1989 by Wilma Minona.
So our 2 fastest women by PBs in this field are Haley Jackson of West Virginia, who ran that great 1200 opening leg on that winning DMR last night, and Taylor Rowe of Oklahoma State, both of whom have run 4:39. Now Taylor was on the runner-up DMR for OK State last night, getting outkicked by Keelan McCabe of West Virginia. Now you have to wonder how that plays into her mentality going into today.
Women's mile underway. We will see the majority of them cross the finish line under the 5-minute mark. As JoJo mentioned, Taylor Rowe for Oklahoma State with your best seed time this year.
And Taylor's been a standout runner since her high school days. I think she's kind of had a little up and down college career, some great highlights, some moments of being a little timid on the track. So I hope that she doesn't let last night getting out kicked at that line for that team title and the DMR get to her today, and she runs to the best of her ability in this final. And that's Haley Jackson of West Virginia out to the early lead for the women. Very slow pace to start out, just under 40 seconds. This is a jog in a mile event for Haley Jackson. This is going to be a sit and kick kind of race, I think. No one wants to take it out early. You know, unless you're by far the class of the field and you can just run away with it, as we saw Catherine Gillespie do last year and just totally dominate. It can often be more advantageous to sit and kick, and instead of being the leader at the bell lap, be sitting on the shoulder, be pacing off of the front person, metaphorically taking the wind.
Gracie Morris, the Texas freshman, your only burnt orange out there in the field. Again, her women teammates 71.5 points lead through 9 of the 19 women's events today, ahead of Texas Tech with 63 points. K-State right now sits in third with 45. Now the Red Raiders are going to benefit when Usoro likely captures gold, or at very least medals in the triple jump officially. Women's mile underway. We'll have the men go a mile around the track soon after. Texas Tech leading the men's standings. Once again, women's triple jump still underway with another cowgirl. I believe they're getting ready for their 4th, 5th, and 6th efforts now.
So they're still crawling along, running just under 5:20 pace for the mile, which is a lot slower than these women are capable of running.
The women's triple jump had 10 competing, and 9 of those 10 advancing to the final 3 rounds. Just now warming up for.
So that's Haley Jackson on the inside, Taylor Rowe of Oklahoma State on the outside, and now Taylor, it looks like she's going to try and make this more of an honest race. She's not, you know what, if she's going to get out kicked at the end, at least let me get out kicked for second. Let me not, I don't want to let this be a jog till 100 meters to go and get out kicked out of the points entirely.
She does not want another mountaineer sneaking back into her peripheral vision after yesterday, forgetting that objects in the mirror may be closer than they appear. And no Kaylee McCabe today chasing Rowe.
And while Haley Jackson has run 4:39, that was an entire year ago, whereas Taylor did that earlier this month. So Haley's probably not in that kind of shape just yet.
West Virginia limited opportunities this year. In fact, Jackson has not run this distance officially this year. But she may still wind up on the podium. But that is Taylor Rowe. Saw a gold turned into silver at the last second last night. She is focused on claiming that gold here in the mile.
And she's really picked it up over the last 400 meters, turning in about 65 second quarter. So that's pretty fast quarter to throw in there.
It's going to be a battle for bronze. Gracie Morris, along with Heidi DeMeo and Hannah Stewart, the Longhorn, Cowgirl, and Wildcat. See if Taylor can be joined on the podium by a teammate. As you hear the bell lap for Taylor Rowe. One more trip around the oval for the title here in 2021.
And this will be the first individual title for Taylor Rowe, the sophomore.
And last year it was Gillespie for the burnt orange. This year it's going to be a slightly different shade of orange. Taylor Rowe, already a silver in her back pocket from yesterday, is your 2021 champion in the women's mile. You see her qualifying time of 4:49.17 is her time. Another qualifying time for Haley Jackson. Same can be said for Gracie Morris. They go 1, 2, 3. Jackson with a time of 4:57.10. Morris a time of 4:58.39. Now what a run from Taylor Rowe.
First big title for the true sophomore, who's hardly gotten to run track for Oklahoma State before, given she was a freshman during the pandemic. Fourth last year in the Big 12 indoor 3K. Great run for her to come back after a disappointing night last night, but obviously the class of the field today.
And just a sophomore. And joined by a junior from West Virginia, a freshman from Texas there in the top 3. Take a look at how everything factors in on the women's side. Yeah, this will be fluid on this final day, as now officially 10 of 19 events registered into those events. And in a moment, we'll continue our theme of talking to champions today. Taylor Rowe's women right now sitting in 4th. And congratulations to Taylor. We'll let JoJo chat with her.
Congratulations, Taylor. How are you feeling about your first Big 12 title?
Thank you. No, it feels awesome. That's the best way to describe it. I mean, I was just happy to be able to come out here today and run and do well. I guess, I don't know.
I think coming into this race, you obviously had the best time this season. Did you think that you were the favorite coming into this, and how did you approach that?
No, every race is different, and you know, you don't know who's going to have their day on in that specific race, and so you just got to be prepared for anything. And yeah, no.
Yeah, and I know you ran a great leg on that DMR anchor last night. What were your thoughts after that race, and how did you kind of collect yourself to get ready for today?
I kind of learned a lesson the hard way, but just to finish through the line and don't leave it to chance. And so I went a little earlier in this race, but no, I felt good about it.
Yeah. At
DMR, it's always fun to run with your team, so yeah.
Yeah. Hey, can't complain about a silver medal. You know, that kind of affects you heading into today's race. Were you worried about, you know, having to battle someone in late stages again?
Yeah, well, it always happens, race. You just never know what's going to happen. And so, yeah, I definitely was going to be more prepared and on the lookout, but yeah.
Well, congratulations. Great run today. Successfully executed, and good luck the rest of your season.
Yeah, Taylor makes
Thank you so much.
5 of the last 6 years, a Cowgirl has finished first in the women's mile. As that is an event, understandably, when you think about distance runs, now, of course, for Cowgirls and Cyclones, they probably think of the mile as a sprint, but those are 2 programs, especially on the women's side, that have been very impressive. In fact, Taylor's campus will be hosting those cross-country national championships, delayed this year to on March 15th at their fantastic home course. And there will be some decisions to make regarding competing at cross-country and/or indoor track championships this next month. We go from the women's mile to the men's mile. And we go from the freshman Gracie Morris to the Longhorns to her brother on the men's side. See some siblings sprinkled in throughout the day. And that is your big picture of some records that could be within the target of these gentlemen.
Now this should be a pretty competitive field, as a few of these guys are sub 4-minute milers. I hope we get to see a sub 4 mile. That'd be exciting. Obviously 3:56, Takidine Hideli of Texas Tech is the leader this year, defending champion from last year. But he has some tough Longhorns to contend with as well, including a true freshman from University of Texas and Yusuf Bizimana, originally from Great Britain, his first semester on campus. Recently ran 3:57 at the Tyson Invitational. So it should be exciting to see Hideli versus Bizimana. But they're not the only sub-4 guys in this field. There's also Creighton Carrazza, who will be up there as well.
Men's mile underway. We just saw a moment ago the women's triple jump is into its 4th round, with Ruth Usoro ahead of a couple of Wildcats, followed by a pair of Sooners in the top 5. Grayson Morris's twin brother, Graydon Morris, among the Longhorns out there competing in this mile.
Yeah, so this could be a fast one. Takadine Hideli has run 3:56. Yusuf Bizimana has run 3:57. Creighton Carrazza has run 3:59. Brendan Hebert, also of Texas, has run 4:01. And that's Hebert right now up in front, leading a Longhorn charge. Hebert, Bizimana, Hideli, and Morris and Carrazza in 4th and 5th.
The senior Sophia Falco in the triple jump register her 4th jump. She sits in 7th right now. And there are some of her male teammates here in the men's mile.
So they're 62 seconds through that opening quarter. So this might not end up being a sub-4 race, although it's still on the table, I think.
We'll have to make them do it again. Again, the Texas men right now sit in 2nd as a team behind Texas Tech. Red Raiders 59 points through 8 events. Longhorns with 41. Baylor nipping at their heels with 38. Oklahoma has matched those 38 on the men's side. Here's Brianna Phipps. K-State occupies 3 of the top 6 spots going into this 4th round of the women's triple jump. The freshman right now with a 13.33 through the first 3 rounds and a foul there. So 2 more jumps coming up for her. She'll remain in 6th for now.
And that's still Hebert on the inside and Bizimana, the 2 Longhorns leading the charge, with Hideli and Morris. It looks like there's a little tripping on the rail.
Again, a couple of programs that could capture a lot of points in this men's mile.
So that was 2:10 through 809 meters. So definitely have slowed things down a bit.
Mykesha Welcome, the sophomore, sits in 5th right now. Already has put up a season record with her best jump on the year. She and teammate Essence Thomas in the top 5 right now in the women's triple jump. And she'll have 2 more jumps left today.
And Bizimana is starting to make a push to pull away from this field. He's got some serious wheels. I think he's definitely one to watch, obviously. He's got to run 1:46 for 800 meters. But he's not scared to get things going either. And now Hideli's going to make a move to catch up. He's a senior this year. He wants to defend that title on his home turf. So they definitely did pick it up. That was another 30-second lap.
And Hideli moves into 2nd. And
We've got 400 meters to go.
We'll hope to move 1 more spot.
That's Creighton Carrazza in 3rd.
And here's the move from Hideli.
Going into the bell lap, Hideli trying to get by. Bizimana still holding tight. And you can see he's kind of edging him out by taking up that full lane. The true freshman from Texas trying to hold off the Texas Tech senior on his home track.
Bell lap, Hideli unable to make it on that first attempt. And you wonder how much that took out of him.
And here's the final straight.
Not enough.
Bizimana is going to take it. 4:05.47. 4:05.44 official time. Takadine Hideli losing it in those final meters. 4:06.20. That was a 26:55 last 200 meters.
Texas takes 2 of the top 3 spots, occupying 3 of the top 5 Red Raiders with silver, and just off the podium in 4th as well with Alex Stitt. But you got the feeling when Bizimana held off Hideli that first time that may have taken a lot out of the Red Raider.
Definitely. I mean, a 52-second last lap is not many guys can go with that. So Bizimana definitely showing off his mid-distance speed. And he'll be back in the 800 meters as well, trying to capture 2 titles for the Longhorns today.
Hopefully Grace is okay after that awkward landing. And let's check in with another Longhorn to claim gold.
Congratulations. How's it feel to win your first Big 12 title?
Feels good. I came here, get a job done. I've been hearing Texas Tech won it on our track, so I'm just trying to turn the tables right now.
What was your
Last
strategy?
year outdoors, so yeah.
What was your strategy today?
Today, I just wanted to go out there, put my like statement on it. In the heats, I did that, so I wanted to show what I can do in the final. And yeah, went to plan. When I kicked, I thought, no one's past me, and yeah, get to the line first. That was the plan.
That was a pretty incredible last lap you had there, battling with Takadine Hideli of Texas Tech. Can you tell us what's going through your head in that final lap?
The final lap was just hold the curve, hold the curve, hold the curve. 200 left, empty the tank, and I'll see that finish line, because I've seen it happen. I have to go out there and prove it. That was the goal.
That was incredible. And I see you're in that 800-meter final later today, going for the double gold today.
That's the goal. Score as many points as I can. And yeah, like I want to go right now, recover, and get ready for that final for the 8. Go out there and put on the burnt orange and go represent.
Well, congratulations, and we'll see you later today. Good luck.
Thank you so much. See you later, guys.
And Yusuf, just a freshman.
Wow, what a talent.
And you heard him. He was mindful. Texas Tech won over there at Mike A. Myers in Austin. And so he wanted to capture gold. And with Texas taking 2 of the top 3 spots, they narrow the gap with Texas Tech on the men's side back within 10 points. We step aside. Saw the women's pentathlon wrap up yesterday. But the men's heptathlon now going 2 days strong. This is your 7th and final event for the men. Gary Hasbrook of Texas Tech is your leader right now through the first 6 events on the strength of his 60-meter hurdles and pole vault performance earlier today, as he sits right now 9 points better than Alex Loving, who led coming into today on behalf of the Longhorns after his first place finishes in the 60 meters as well as the long jump. This 1,000 meters can make or break you in this 7th and final event, JoJo.
That's right. Now, these multi-event guys, you know, going for the 1,000 indoors, the 1,500 outdoors, it's always one of the most painful events to watch.
Again, it's been a busy 2 days for them. We are underway. Again, Hasbrook right now in the driver's seat for Texas Tech. Alex Loving in second. But this race could easily do a lot of damage to the existing standings in the heptathlon. Gustav Similas for Oklahoma right now in 3rd after he won the pole vault and finished top 2 in the shot put and in the high jump. And Monis for K-State sits in 4th right now, all in striking range.
So that's Cole Watley of Texas Tech out to the early lead with Clay Eckert and Tyler Pride of Kansas. And it looks like these 3 are going to separate themselves pretty early. 30 seconds for that opening quarter, or opening 200.
So again, this is the final evidence of our multi-sport athletes we'll see today. Women always wrap up their pentathlon on day 1. The men split it over 2 days. You're looking at the women's triple jump finals in the top right. Thomas about to go for the Sooners. And a foul will not allow her to move up. And that's an event where Ruth Usoro is still sitting in 1st. The Sooners, Essence Thomas, Mikesha Welcome in 4th and 5th with a pair of K-State Wildcats in 2nd and 3rd right now. with 2 jumps still to go. Men's heptathlon, 1,000 meters. And it's still Eckert for the Jayhawks, followed by a pair of Red Raiders. Eckert sits in 9th right now overall. His best showing today was in the pole vault a moment ago, finished 3rd. He's had a nice morning. Finished 4th in the 60-meter hurdles as well.
And remember, it's those top 8 spots that gain you points for the team. So by winning this, he would definitely should get himself into a point scoring placement.
And again, that's Grace with another effort here in the 5th round for K-State. And she has been battling something her past couple of efforts. Won't be surprised if she does not.
Oh, you hate to see that.
And now we are down one of our heptathletes.
And that's a 2:43 winning time for Clay Eckert of Kansas, just inching out Cole Watley of Texas Tech.
Yeah, but I believe that was Clay who went down a moment ago. So he is not going to be able to add to his performance. After a nice start in the 1,000 meters, Christo Similask for Oklahoma has taken advantage of this opportunity. So let's take a look at how the 1,000 meters may affect things here in the men's championship standings. Texas Tech's lead over the Longhorns right now at 9. Kurt climbing up to 7th. Had himself a nice championship Saturday here in the men's heptathlon.
Yeah, that 1,000 meters is a brutal event even for mid-distance athletes because it's rarely run, only during the indoor season. So the question is, do you go out at 800 pace and try and hang on or slow down a little bit? So for these guys who mid-distance is not their primary event, definitely a challenging thing to end the day with.
So congratulations to Christo, your 2021 champ in the men's heptathlon. He went 4th in the 60 meters yesterday, 4th in the long jump, 2nd in the shot put, 2nd in the high jump, 5th today in the 60-meter hurdles. We'll take pole vaults, finish the center and some other events as well. A bright future ahead for one of the newest Longhorns this year. And she would ultimately give Texas their first 10 team points on the day. Now 10 of the women's 77.5 points that they've accumulated as they are still in the driver's seat. 14.5 points better than Texas Tech in 2nd right now. Lincoln Rose, JoJo Gretschel, great to have you with us for a 2nd straight day here in Lubbock on Big 12 Now. And we're back to individual events as we get the women back out on the track. A little bit shorter than the runs we've seen. We saw the mile runs, and then a moment ago, the heptathlon 1,000 were down to 600 yards. There's going to be 2 groups here. This is section 1 of the finals. So it's not enough just to cross that finish line first. You are also trying to put up a time that'll hold up. All these women ran yesterday just trying to qualify for these remaining 8 spots. So Schultz and Price for the Red Raiders. We have a sophomore for the Cowgirls and a junior for the Cyclones.
And that's the Tech girls taking charge right now. I believe that's Lexi Price of Texas Tech, currently in the lead with Sylvia Scholes, her teammate, right behind her. Bell lap, 50.66.
Yeah, 0.22 better than her own teammate, pushing each other. But again, they need this time to hold up with 4 more women still to come for Baylor, Texas, and the 2 schools from the Sunflower State.
So this is like a practice session for them, not only on their home track, but racing against their teammate And it's going to be Lexi Price winning Section 1 in 1:21.83.
So 1:21.83 will be the time to beat. Now, each of the 4 women we see in this next section beat that yesterday to qualify. It was a little faster than Lexi was yesterday in the qualifiers.
Now's the hard part. Now you just have to sit back and wait for the other section to go and hope that your time's fast enough to win.
There's Tasha Price sitting in 9th, and she'll have the foul. She'll stay in 9th for now. She has a couple teammates right now looking to medal. As Price was the first of our 9 women in the triple jump in this 6th and final round. And here's your second section. Again, time to beat 1:21.83 from Lexi Price. Lily Williams for Baylor, the freshman, joined by another first year in Patterson for Texas. K-State's Ferguson, joined by Sermons of Kansas, the lone senior. Last year, Brooke Jaworski of Texas took this event, one of her 3 titles a year ago. Will it be a teammate in Patterson, the freshman, who continues the Longhorn run?
The Big 12 Indoor Championship is so unique among NCAA conferences because they feature events like the 600-yard run, and there's so many mid-distance events between mile and 400 that coaches and athletes have to choose from.
Alex Ferguson running with a couple of freshmen. Again, final lap. A reminder of the time to beat, 1:21.83.
And that's Williams of Baylor hanging on to the lead, but Davisha Patterson, the freshman from Texas.
A little something extra in the tank for Patterson, as freshmen look to go 1 and 2 in the 600 yards if Williams can hang on for Baylor. But it's Patterson who makes sure that that title for the 600 yards remains in Austin.
Wow, 1:18.85. That's a fast time.
Both freshmen setting new records for their young collegiate careers. Patterson and Williams go 1 and 2. Price's time holds up to keep her on the medal stand with bronze. But that means the Texas women's advantage will continue to grow as Patterson pours in another 10 points.
That's going to be one of the faster times ever run in the NCAA for this event. Again, it is an unusual distance. It's not contested that much.
Women's triple jump. Again, this is the final jump for Phipps, your freshman from K-State, sitting in 6th right now. Two of her teammates in the top 3. And she will not be able to improve upon her 13.33, now done for the day. So she will do no worse than 6th. As that officially will be her final. And we promise you no math required on your end. We do it for you. Texas Tech right now sitting in 2nd on their home track on the women's side with 72 points. 15.5 back of the Longhorns, who got some more right there on the men's side after one fewer event. The Red Raiders with the edge. Well, once again, it's a Longhorn who takes the 600 yards. This time it's one of the fresh new faces over there in Austin, and we'll let JoJo catch up with the newest champ.
Congratulations. How does it feel to win your first Big 12 title?
It feels absolutely incredible. I'm so surprised and so happy.
What is your strategy for an event like the 600, which isn't contested very often?
I think I know I have a strong finish and a strong kick, so just to stay with the pack and then just go as fast as I could at the end.
Have you felt this kind of pain before?
Actually, I run the 400, so yeah, but I'm struggling to stand up right now.
Congratulations. Great run today.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
That's Davisha Patterson of Texas, originally from Lisburn in Northern Ireland.
Well, I thought that was maybe in the Texas Panhandle, but you say Northern Ireland?
Yeah. It is interesting. As I mentioned before, just so many different events that you can choose from for that sort of mid-distance level athlete. And actually something I found really interesting, Davisha Patterson, her time ended up being not that much faster, not that much slower, but our Big 12 leader in the 600 is actually Honor Finley from Kansas, a senior for the Jayhawks, who set a school record earlier this season and ran the number 9 mark of all time in the NCAA in 1:18.52. However, she chose to enter the 400 instead of the 600 yard, probably because the 400 is contested at nationals and the 600 is not. So it's just interesting because she maybe would have been a lock to win, although the fact that Davisha ran so fast today, maybe not.
Let me put in perspective what the freshman just did. I'm going to mention another Longhorn here. She's the first to hit 118 since a certain Courtney Okolo back in 2015.
Oh, wow. Who we all know as an Olympic gold medalist in that 4x4 for Team USA, one of the all-time greats, a Bowerman Award winner for the University of Texas. So Davisha Patterson is in great company as just a freshman for the Longhorns.
That was Chantoba Bright's final effort here in the women's triple jump. She sits in second with a 13.6 going into that jump. We'll wait for them to officially confirm the distance. Her teammate Grace is going to take bronze, we now know. Bright will do no worse than silver. She's looking up at Ruth Usoro, who had a 14.36. And yeah, that from Bright was a 12.53. So Bright's going to take silver. Usoro's just going to wave and say, I'll take a pass. Enough drama last night. I will simply accept the gold. Ruth Usoro, for a second straight day, dominates the sand pit, this time in the triple jump, for her second gold in as many days.
Wow, incredible streak for Ruth. Definitely not a perfect day for her. She started today in 4th, but managed to take that top spot.
This was Ruth in the 3rd round. She took 3 straight passes after this 14.36. It's the best mark at the collegiate level this year. It is a Big 12 championship meet record, and it's her best showing here in her senior campaign. So Ruth pours in more points for Texas Tech's women. K-State gets a nice boost with 2 medalists. Right now, it's the Longhorn women still up by 15.5 through 11 events. A lot can still change, as we still have 8 more women, 9 more men to crown champions before the team titles tonight. Welcome back. Just underway with our next men's championship, the men's 600. As on the men's side, we will also have these 2 flights for the finals. Gentile for Iowa State, the freshman for Texas Tech, and Vilka Dwyer for the Jayhawks, and the Horned Frog freshman seat. We'll see 2 more Red Raiders, a Longhorn and a Baylor Bear freshman in the second half of this final.
And David Seat of TCU goes straight for the front. The freshman leading the charge right now with Sebastian Gentile right on his shoulder, and Gentile trying to make that pass. I see a little elbow throw in. Steele doesn't want to give it up. Seat doesn't want to give it up.
Sebastian last year took silver in this event to teammate Rashawn Rooms, who actually has the facility record set 2 years ago here at 107.67. That, of course, was also the collegiate mark being set.
Wow, out of nowhere, here comes Marco Vilka for the pass.
And he will set the time to beat. We'll make sure it's official.
And that's 109.10. A sneaky win for the Texas Tech true freshman.
And these are the finals. That was your first section. We've got one more quartet still to compete. 3 of the 4 running their best in their college campaigns. Of course, Vilka for the Red Raiders, a freshman. 1 of 3 in the finals, 1 of 2 a moment ago. They're on the oval. So 109.10 is the standard to beat for our next quartet. Cephas back on the track here on day 2, along with teammate Stevenson, Johan and Dupree for the Longhorns and the Bears. Dupree, again, a freshman with a pair of seniors and junior out there on the track now. One person we're not saying is for Oklahoma State, Hicks, the All-American who had been #1 in the Big 12 since week 2 in this event. Had a couple of wins actually here in Lubbock. This is either going to be a Red Raider title or a Longhorn or Bear. Mind you, Vilka, after that, putting up that time, now has 2 of his own teammates trying to deny him that gold.
This is an unusual distance, not contended at the national championships, and converted to meters is about 548 meters. So definitely a weird one to pace yourself if you haven't raced it before.
Dupree, Chohan, Cephas, and Stevenson. 109.10 the time to beat to claim gold here in 2021 in the men's 600 yards. This could be a real shot in the arm for Texas Tech, already leading the men's race overall, ahead of Texas by 9 points.
And that's Sven Cephas up front, with Dupree following in suit.
Final trip around the oval for Cephas and company.
Cephas trying to lengthen that gap. Headed into the home straight, it's still Cephas. Can he hold them off? Stevenson trying to rally for, oh.
It looks like Cephas, the junior, does hang on. A time of 108.57 gives him the gold. The freshman for Baylor, Dupree, takes silver. And Chancellor Stevenson, 109.01, good enough to claim bronze. Texas Tech takes 3 of the top 4 finishes in the men's 600 yards. And that is just another flood of points into the red and black column on the men's side. You're a point shy of the century mark now in the team column. All of a sudden, 28 points better than the Longhorns. Again, both the men's and women's side right now, it is a Red Raider and Longhorn battle for the team titles. You see still just 11 events complete, 8 more to go. Last year, it was the Iowa State men who would capture the title on their home track. Texas Tech is trying to live up to the billing now, competing in their own backyard in Lubbock.
And taking a look through Cephas's college history, it seems like he's uniquely suited for this event. He's run 48 in the 400, 149 for the 800. So definitely an unusual event, but it seems like he's perfectly suited to this one.
And we continue our trend of checking in with champions. Let's do so now with the Croatian, the champion in the 600 yards, Jojo.
How does it feel to take home a Big 12 title today?
Feels great. Running in here in the home track where we practice every day and going sub 109. This is my second 600-yard race this season. First one was yesterday, and I'm just happy I stick with it. Last 50 was so hard. I thought I would fall on my face, honestly. So I'm just glad they didn't catch up.
Well, we're glad you didn't fall on your face. How do you approach running 600 yards? It's such an unusual distance.
Just running it like 400, but it's longer.
Yeah. Would you say this is the toughest event that you do?
No. To me, mentally, 800. So I think that's why that's a good thing about running 6 for me, because coming down from 8, 6 is shorter distance, so yeah.
Right, that makes sense. How does it feel to do this on your home track this weekend?
Feels great. This is what we practiced for, and I executed good, and I'm just happy I did it.
Well, congratulations. Thank you so much, and enjoy the Big 12 title.
Yeah, have a good one.
Sven, one of 3 Red Raiders to claim points among the top 4 in that event. Again, boosting Texas Tech's hopes of keeping the Big 12 Men's Championship trophy here in Lubbock. And I tell you what, even if he had fallen on his face and not won the gold, we'd show you highlights either way. But this one was of him actually taking the top spot. Again, we remind you, Texas Tech, officially, this is their 6th event of the indoor season. All 6 have been here in Lubbock, but as he just reminded us, that's only the 2nd time he's run. Oh, by the way, before yesterday, had not run it.
That's right. You know, the Big 12 Indoor Championships, I like to think of it as a mid-distance meet. It's just a pretty cool opportunity for people who have that sweet spot of 400 to 800 speed to really contribute to their team in a lot of different events, whereas most conferences, you really only have a few. So it kind of opens up more opportunities to win a title and to take those big points home for your team.
We quickly move on to the women's 400. Again, we'll have 2 sections. As the sophomore Johnson for K-State, a pair of freshmen for the Longhorns and the Bears, and Finley, the lone senior for the Jayhawks here in this first foursome.
And Honor Finley, again, is the woman who had the top time coming in the 600-yard, had set a school record, one of the top times ever in college history, but opted to go for the 400 instead.
See, Okolo has the championship meet record here in the Big 12, set 5 years ago. We still have another Cowgirl, Wildcat, and a pair of Longhorns in the second half of this 400-meter dash.
So these finals will be against time. So whoever wins this final section, that time will be compared to the next section.
Honor Finley, we mentioned the senior. Boy, she had a lot of freshman teammates this year really making an impact, both the men's and women's side for the Jayhawks. Bright future ahead for that program. She had a teammate in Orense who actually did very well in this event throughout the year in the 400 and even the 200 as well for that freshman. But they've had a fantastic senior to look up to here in Finley. Just 2 seniors in the finals here today. The only one here again in this pack of 4.
She placed 6th in this final last year, so let's see if she can improve upon that.
Women's 400 meters about to get underway here in Lubbock. It'll be our 13th women's title to be awarded momentarily. Underway with the first flight here in the finals.
Oshalia Johnson of Kansas State, Rashidat Adeleke of Texas, Honor Finley of Kansas, and Kavia Francis of Baylor.
And the Longhorn and the Bear, freshman.
And that's Francis of Baylor and Finley of Kansas. Finley is going to take the inside. She knows that she had, in order to guarantee points for her team and get that at least 6th place, she needs to win this.
Again, we keep repeating it. She's not just running against Francis behind her, but she's running against 4 unknowns in the second half of the finals coming up, trying to set a time that'll be tough to beat. And that time is 52:27 officially. 52:27, the time to beat to deny Honor Finley the gold in her senior campaign in the 400.
I think she could place pretty well. So that's the fastest time run so far this year in the Big 12. usually we see our championship winners coming from that second section, but Honor Finley's time could stand as the fastest of the day for sure. Very competitive time.
Yeah, nobody yesterday in the qualifiers ran faster than what we just saw from Honor. But we will give these women an opportunity. Allison, the senior for Oklahoma State, the K-State sophomore Ray, Kennedy Simon, and her teammate Stacey Ann Williams, the two Longhorn juniors, who were the two fastest yesterday with sub 53-second times.
Actually, for added perspective, that 52:27 ties for the 6th fastest time in the NCAA this year. So as we discussed earlier, strange to see her not run the 600. Obviously, it was so she could secure that national qualifying time.
We don't question the decisions of these experts. Can Simon do even better? That is a high bar, 52.27. She'll have a teammate on her hip, and Williams. See Allison removing the mask for the Cowgirls. And again, Shalisa Ray, Wildcat, there in lane 4.
Kennedy Simon was the Big 12 leader heading into today. The junior Longhorn. He's also the defending champion in this event from last year, running a 51.81 to win the Big 12 title in February 2020. So
that would do it.
Very impressive personal best. Can she do it today?
Here in 2021, the time to beat 52.27 for gold. That was the mark from Honor Finley a moment ago. Second and final flight underway.
And Texas will certainly be trying to repeat that 60-meter 1-2 sweep with Kennedy Simon and Stacey Ann Williams. And that's Simon out to the early lead. Williams trying to stay as close as possible with Shalisa Ray in third.
Texas women have a 7.5-point team advantage over Texas Tech at the moment. Trying to increase that lead with this Longhorn duo. The pair of juniors running 1 and 2.
This could be a fast time at 24 flat for Kennedy Simon for that opening 200 meters. Can she hold on? Stacey Ann Williams going out into lane 2, bypassing her teammate. It's going to be Stacey Ann Williams, the junior for the Longhorns.
51.60, followed by Simon's 52.24. Shalisa Ray at 53.40 will not be able to deny Honor Finley bronze. So it goes pair of Longhorns and a Jayhawk, 1, 2, and 3. And Stacey Ann Williams.
Wow, that's the second fastest time in the NCAA this year for Stacey Ann Williams. 52.24 would be number 9 this year. And Kennedy Simon.
Longhorns running side by side, just like training. And they'll be side by side on the non-existent podium this year. They hope to be together for the team title award, as they've already factored those points in. And again, that takes Texas' lead from single digits over Texas Tech on the women's side through 13 events.
I think this could be a trend we see the rest of the day as the Longhorns start to put the paces on everybody.
That's odd because that program in Austin's never been known much for its trips around the oval, has it? Texas living up to expectations. As well, again, when we talk about Texas, whether you like the Yankees or not, they are the New York Yankees of women's track here in the Big 12.
That's right. If they were to clinch the team title today, it'd be their 4th consecutive
24th overall, potentially, conference indoor title. Last year, they set the new standard of 180.33 points as a team. Stacey Ann Williams and Kennedy Simon, we knew they would go 1 and 2, just didn't know what order there in the final stretch. And it is Williams.
That's also a major personal best for Stacey Ann Williams. Before today, her best was a 52.50. So, massive run for her. I'm sure it helps to have the teammate you train with every single day just ahead of you.
We just had fun with the women's. We'll have the men's 400 in a moment. Still more field events as well. It won't just be here on the oval. But coming up in the next hour at 4 o'clock, we'll see the men's shot put over in the cage, the women's and men's high jump on the parallel pits. And then the rest of the focus will be on the track the rest of the night. Of course, we always cap it off in the evening with the women's and men's 4x400 relays.
Yeah, so we'll certainly see Stacy Ann Williams and Kennedy Simon back for the Longhorns in that event.
Hopefully not running side by side. I don't think that's allowed.
But after that performance, they're going to be tough to beat in the 4x4. I mean, Texas is definitely known, throughout the years, even going through different coaches, as producing very strong quarter milers. So these two women definitely living up to that. It'll be interesting to see if Texas can also sweep those top 2 spots in the 200 later this evening.
You see the first of our 2 heats for this championship final in the men's 400. The pair of bears, the sophomore Hassani Barr, his teammate, the junior Matthew Moore, along with John Mass, the senior, and Ethan Brown, the sophomore. We'll see 2 more Longhorns in the second heat, along with a Wildcat and a Cowboy, Gale and Hicks, respectively. Wright and Jones, the 2 remaining Longhorns that we'll see. And all these men ran yesterday to qualify for today's finals. They had the top 8 times. The best among this pack yesterday was Hassani Barr for Baylor. His 46.89 was the 3rd best time of any male yesterday in the 400. The top time yesterday was from the freshman Kyle Gale from K-State, who we'll see in the next heat. Again, on the men's side, Texas Tech right now is 28 points better than Texas through 11 of the 19 events, 99-71. Oklahoma back in 3rd with Baylor in 4th in your team standings. And just in case you didn't believe me, here's your visual. Men's 400 meters. As we'll be a couple minutes away from crowning a champ when you factor in the 2 flights. And Hassani Barr in lane 5, one of the 2 Baylor Bears representing the green and gold here in this first heat. A moment ago, we saw Williams on the women's side become the 12th woman for the Longhorns to win that 400-meter event.
It's a 21.75 opening 200 meters for Hassani Barr, off to a really fast start. John Maas of Texas trying to keep pace. Are holding on to that lead, but Ethan Brown.
At the last second, it looked like Barr was able to do just enough. We'll get confirmation here with the official times. Brown will be among the top 2 there, and it's a matter of whether the time will hold up. And it was Ethan Brown, 46.62 to Barr's 46.65, who sets the time to beat. So the sophomore Horned Frog at the moment in the lead. All 3 of the top 3 finishers. Matthew Moore did not finish. Brown, Barr, and Mass all with their best of their collegiate careers, but will it be good enough to medal?
Only 2 runners ran faster than that yesterday, and that was Kyle Gale of Kansas State and Ashton Hicks of Oklahoma State.
We see Gale here. It's already set 3 meet records this season. His 46.26 earlier this year is the #1 time in the Big 12 and a top 25 time around the world so far this year. Just saw Ethan Brown, the Brit, who has the 24th best time with a 46.69 that he set here in Lubbock. And of course, moments ago, he was even better with a 46.62.
For favorites in the field, though, it's hard not to pick Jonathan Jones of Texas, the junior for the Longhorns. He's the defending champion from last year, running 45.9. His personal best of 44.64, one of the top junior runners in the world.
So again, in lane 4, the Jonathan Jones, his teammate Wellington Wright will be on his hip. Kyle Gale on the inside, the freshman, and Ashton Hicks, the junior cowboy, up there at the top in lane 6. Today, 46.62, the time to beat. Set by the sophomore Ethan Brown a moment ago.
And that's Jones and Gale on the inside. Jones on the inside, trying to edge out Kyle Gale of Kansas State.
And a nice push from Hicks. Ashton Hicks now eyeing that finish line. Ashton Hicks, the first to cross. And with a time of 46.02, Ashton Hicks is your champion in the men's event here. The first to complete the 400 meters. Kyle Gale, the freshman, takes silver with his new career best. Ethan Brown's time of 46.62, good enough to hold on for bronze. A fantastic finish for the young man representing the Cowboys of Stillwater, Oklahoma. And the best showing so far in the Big 12 this year. Those are your now updated standings for the men's side with 12 men's events complete. Both men and women today, right now it's a battle between Texas Tech and Texas. Longhorns have the advantage on the women's side. We don't expect Iowa State to defend their title just because of the overlap with cross-country season and the dynamic that uniquely presents this year. It's often the strength of the Cyclones. Distance races. We're happy to be surprised if somehow they shoot their way back up.
Yeah, Texas Tech trying to take the team win on their home track.
In a moment, you'll see we'll have a chance to chat with Ashton.
Great finish for the Oklahoma State junior. Jones and Gale really took it out strong, and he was able to sneak up on them.
All right, we've got Ashton Hicks, first man to cross, a time of 46.02. That's the best time in the Big 12 this year. His best showing in this season for the junior. JoJo, I'll let you chat with the newest champion.
Congratulations. How does it feel to win a Big 12 title?
Unbelievable. I just want to say that it felt good.
Did you come into this event expecting to take home the victory?
It was in the plans. I just had to go through my race and make sure I execute everything and just finish.
I know the two of the guys took it out pretty hard. What's going through your mind in the early stages of the race, and how do you stay calm in that moment?
I knew they were going to get out on me and everything. I just couldn't panic. Just had to trust my strength at the end. Just pull it through.
Congratulations. Great job today.
Thank you.
So 10 points courtesy of Ashton Hicks into the column of Oklahoma State with his gold medal performance. He is a Big 12 champion now in the 400 meters.
The room for surprises.
There's your defending champ. native of Wichita, able to stay in her home state to go and compete in college over in Manhattan. And the Wildcats were the most successful in actually getting meets under their belt this year. They were in double digits with 10 of them. We saw some groups of athletes that only got in one event, depending on what they competed in. Johnson's Wildcats in the team standings right now sit in third with 78 points on the women's side. 4 points back of Texas Tech. And everybody looking up at the burnt orange. Through 13 of the 19 events.
Cassidy Johnson, the junior for K-State, prohibitive favorite today. To give you a better idea of what she's done, she's got a 2:04 800 PR, so very speedy.
Women's 1,000 meters underway here in 2021. And Johnson, the lone Wildcat. Coppinger and Larrabee, a pair of Jayhawks. Kaplan, the Sooner, rigged in the cowgirl with her freshman teammate Auerbach. And Vanderheyden on behalf of West Virginia.
And that's Johnson up front. 32.5 for that opening 200 meters. The Savon Auerbach of Oklahoma State falling in line right behind.
This is a chance for Johnson to put K-State into a top 2 position in the women's standings. Wildcats have been slow but steady, accumulating points. Most recently over in the triple jump, taking second and third. It was an event where Soro took another gold for the home squad Red Raiders with another Big 12 record today.
Savon Auerbach of Oklahoma State, currently running in third, is a true freshman for the Cowgirls. So had never run 1,000 meters before yesterday. So she could definitely be a wild card to challenge Johnson for the win. And McKenna Vanderheyden of West Virginia also moving up as these top 3 separate themselves from the rest of the field.
Auerbach, just a freshman for the Cowgirls. Vanderheyden, junior. West Virginia. And Johnson looking to repeat her title win as a sophomore last year in Ames. And it's likely we know our top 3 finishers, just not necessarily what order.
And Johnson looks strong and confident leading this race right now. I think she came into this knowing she had the target on her back and just embracing it, as she leads them through 2:13.71 for the 800.
Final lap, who has that extra gear? Johnson, Auerbach, Vanderheyden, battling for 2021 gold here in the Big 12. And here's the move from Auerbach, trying to get around that right hip of Johnson.
Does she have enough room? Into the home stretch, it's Johnson. Auerbach trying to swing wide. Auerbach's going to take her to the line, and I think Auerbach got her at the finish.
You could tell Auerbach looked comfortable, and she does take the championship away from the defending champ. Auerbach, a time of 2:46.77. As Johnson, 2:46.81. Will take silver this year. Vanderheyden claims bronze for West Virginia.
Wow, great run for the true freshman.
Well-deserved big smile.
As I mentioned before, these unusual indoor races, I think, can yield a lot of surprises.
Boy, she looked like she could have gone another 100 meters.
Yeah, she could have run the whole mile.
So the women's 1,000 meters goes the way of the freshman Auerbach. continue to chat with champions throughout the day. Yet another event complete. She has moved K-State into second overall with those 10 points, leapfrogging the host Red Raiders. Longhorns still with a 24.5-point lead. Looking to take their 7th title in 8 years on the women's side. Again, it was Johnson looking to defend her title. Auerbach denying the junior the chance to do so. Johnson taking silver, Vanderheyden bronze, as those three got out to a lead early.
Auerbach carrying on that Oklahoma State tradition of strong middle distance running.
And here's, again, you see the final push.
Oh, so close.
Names who will grace the oval in our next event.
Now, this is a tough double for some of our top competitors. You might recognize Takadine Hideli of Texas Tech and Creighton Carraza of Texas, both of whom were 2 and 3 in the men's mile just an hour ago. So they'll be hoping that their legs are warmed up and still have some juice left in them, haven't gone completely lactic.
This is another event where there's some noticeable absences for the men from Ames. Gomez, of course, Festus Legat in the past. Some of that has to do with indoor eligibility. Some of it has to do with juggling cross-country competition, along with indoor track underway in the men's 1,000.
And that's Brendan Hebert, 8th in the men's final. On the outside, on the inside, Mike Rollinger of Kansas State, sophomore. And they'll be able to cut in after these cones right here. Takadine Hideli, who I'm sure is smarting after getting outkicked for that mile race, hoping to get some gold hardware home on his home track for Texas Tech.
As they make their way around the venue here, you'll start to see more athletes getting ready at the 4 o'clock hour now. Men's shot put over in the cage. Both high jump pits for the women and men about to get underway. Right now our focus around the oval with the men's 1,000 meters.
And that's Mike Rollinger for Kansas State. Takadine Hideli tucked right on his shoulder. Joe Schaefer of Iowa State running in 3rd.
Hideli denied a gold earlier today. See if he can claim that elusive title here in the 1,000.
Now, Takadine Hideli, I think it's hard to bet against him. He's run a 1:45 this year, so definitely has some superior 800-meter speed.
On the hip of the sophomore for K-State, Rollinger.
That's right. Rollinger, it looks like his personal best is 1:56, which is 10 seconds slower than Takadine Hideli's time. And there we go now. Hideli is ready to take it over. Brendan Hebert trying to go with him. Texas Tech teammate Owen Lickens trying to catch up, moves into second. It's Hideli and Lickens, a freshman for Texas Tech. Can they go 1-2? And that's Creighton Carraza of Texas, tucked into 3rd. Hideli trying to make up for that tough mile final where he wasn't able to defend his title by taking home some gold today and maybe leading Texas Tech to a 1-2 finish. He's looking behind him. His teammate's still there. He says, come on, let's go.
Red Raiders go 1-2. Hideli and Likens as they will add to their men's team points, holding off a pair of Longhorns. It's Creighton Carraza who takes 3rd. Brandon Hebert for the Longhorns who takes 4th. That, despite the points for the Horns, is going to allow Texas Tech to stretch their lead on the mid side now to 13 events. Texas Tech leading Texas 117-91 overall in a 2-horse race here in Lubbock now.
Wow, a crazy hour for Takadine Hideli. 2nd place in the mile. An hour later, a dominant victory in this men's 1K.
Now a 26-point lead for his Red Raiders as a group.
Once again, sort of interesting decision making for which events to put athletes in. Obviously, this was a great choice for Hideli. He had the superior speed at the end, comfortably winning and able to pace his teammate to big points in second place as well.
Yeah, the senior kind of leading his freshman teammate along there at the end. And even with him taking the foot off the gas at the finish, the senior Red Raider still with a career best in the 1,000. As Red Raiders go 1 and 2, able to hold off a pair of Longhorns, go 3 and 4.
That's right. Great double for Creighton Carraza as well. Second place, or sorry, 2 third places in the mile and the 1,000.
So we still have another 6 champions to crown on the men's side, another 5 on the women's side before we culminate this evening with the team titles. The women with the lead on, looking to go 4 in a row. We'll be back with more men's and women's competition, including some field events. Men are in the cage with a shot put. Women and men both on the parallel high jump pits here in Lubbock when you rejoin us on Big 12 Now. Back with you for day 2. It's Championship Saturday as it all comes to a culmination here tonight. Some of the best athletes around the country, some of the best athletes around the world, including some more men getting back into the cage now for the men's shot put. Got started about 7 minutes ago. And shot put, it's just one flight of 13 athletes. The top 9 will advance to the finals. That will immediately follow. And again, just getting started here in the cage for the men. Cooper Campbell, a senior for Oklahoma, will be the last in this rotation. Young man who already has a win this year, broke the Matador qualifier meet record earlier this year, top 3 in every meet he's been able to toss in. Number 2 on the Oklahoma all-time list in the event. One of his teammates about to throw. Saw the women's weight toss yesterday here. Women's shot put earlier. And back over on the oval for the 800. Again, this is one of the 3 events Catherine Gillespie for Texas took last year. She is not back out there to defend her title. For Baylor, you've got the senior again, Aaliyah Miller, who's was on the roster all the way back in 2017 when they won that last Big 12 title. And again, they later found out she competed with a broken foot to help out the effort of the green and gold.
Yeah, Aaliyah Miller, definitely the class of this field. She's been a star runner for a long time, running 2:02 back in high school in 2016, representing Team USA at the World Junior Championships. Definitely getting back into form after overcoming some injury problems. She actually redshirted last indoor season to get ready for a run at the Tokyo Olympics and the U.S. Olympic trials. So obviously 2020 didn't pan out the way that anybody did. So now she's back at Baylor to pursue this 5th year of running.
Of the 8 women, 4 of them you see are freshmen, including Jo Lauren Keene of West Virginia, a pair of Cowgirls in Moss and Lavier, as well as K-State's Burton. You got 3 juniors, and again, you got the elder statesman Miller, the lone senior for Baylor right there. And women's 800 meters coming up. We'll have the men's 800 meter to follow. These are some of the numbers to target. And of course, there is Miss Miller with the best showing in the Big 12 this year.
Now, Miller did not look great in her prelim yesterday. The top 3 advanced to the final in each section. She only got 3rd in her section and nearly got edged out of that spot. So think maybe she didn't calculate things correctly. Also trying to conserve some energy because she was on that 1200 leg of the distance medley relay last night as well. So maybe we'll see her close to her 2:02 form today in the final.
Underway with the women's 800 here in Lubbock.
And Miller, you can see, is gapping her section already. Out to a fast start. This is her senior year. She wants to go out in style and win this thing.
And this is your only heat. These are your 8 women in contention for the title. And that's Aaliyah Miller.
Definitely a quick start. 30.3 for the opening 200 meters.
She holds the Baylor school record, 2:02.89.
That's Maddie Salick and Stephanie Moss of Oklahoma State. But Aaliyah is definitely in a race of her own at this point, not even 400 meters into the race. And Valerie Tobias of Texas in that 3rd spot right now, trying to move up into 2nd, but right now it's all the Aaliyah Miller show as she crosses through 400 meters in 59.86.
We speculated about yesterday. Perhaps she calculated perfectly what she needed to do.
Yeah, I mean, this is a woman who's competed at the highest international levels of the sport in her age group. So definitely a very experienced racer. A lot of school pride right now, I think, for Baylor. You mentioned yesterday she was part of that indoor title winning team a couple years ago for the Bears. That was a historic moment for them.
Yeah, most of the field in this race weren't even teenagers when she was on that Big 12 trophy team.
I think we could see a pretty fast time today. 1:30.5 through 600 meters. So she's right on PR pace.
Aaliyah Miller for Baylor.
The Big 12 leader this year, 2:02.35. That's her personal best.
She will dominate the 800 meters here in 2021.
And that's going to be 2:02.98, a new Big 12 meet record.
Valerie Tobias takes silver, 2:06.64. And a pair of Cowgirls go 3rd and 4th with Moss and Salick. Aaliyah Miller, phenomenal. Baylor among the top 5 teams on the women's side. As we segue from one bear to another. That toss was Nicholas Harden. The lone bear in the cage. This is a fun event, especially for a certain family in the Houston area with the 2 Pipperies, Trip and his brother Patrick. These will be in and out of the cage some, but another look at Aaliyah Miller. And the moment that gun was off, it wasn't a matter of if, but by how much.
Definitely in a league of her own this year. You know, there are some historic runners in the NCAA this year. Athing Mu of Texas A&M is the national leader with her 2:01.
Yeah, that was the 4th best mark in the NCAA this year, courtesy of Miller.
That's right. And her personal best this season is number 2.
Both women and men with high jump underway. I believe we're looking at Vernon Turner. Nope. It is Keith Drapeau. He was looking to clear 1.99 on his 2nd attempt. is the opening height, 1.99 meters. Already cleared by 5 of his competitors. And his second pass will be unsuccessful with 1 more to go. And over on the women's side, bar currently set at 162. And Trinity Tomlinson, the freshman Longhorn, able to clear. So men's shot put finals in the bottom right. And I'll clarify, of course, still need to qualify to get into those final 3 throws. Early going for the men's shot put. Got started about 17 minutes ago. Got 2 looks at the top of your screen in the men's high jump at the moment. Women's high jump in the bottom left. As all of a sudden we have a busy Sports Performance Center.
And that's Bailey Golden of Oklahoma State, junior.
That was her second effort on the height of 162. She'll get 1 more bite at the apple. Just saw Richardson, K-State. Here's your standings on the men's side. Red Raiders with that most recent event around the Oval, padding their lead back to 26 points. And it looks like it'll either be Texas Tech or Texas claiming the team title this year. Baylor sitting in 3rd, and over on the women's side, it's going to take a lot to deny the Longhorns their 4th straight women's championship, with only 4 events to go. Mindful, one of those is the 4x400. K-State, an excellent showing here in Lubbock now over these past 2 days. Texas Tech in the top 3 as well here at home. It's Callie Jones for the home team, the senior. And I believe that's her 3rd effort on 162. So she will exit at the opening height. Still have a few more athletes trying to clear 162 for the first time. Had the women's 800 a moment ago. Now for the men.
And still thinking about that awesome men's mile finish with
Bailey Golden with the clearance. We got Yusuf already with that 1 championship.
Right, can he go 2 for 2 as a true freshman for the Longhorns?
We will not see Hideli in this race, despite having the best Big 12 mark on the year. Do see Jason Gomez, though, return to competition, the sophomore. Should be a contender for the Cyclones.
Right. The 2nd fastest in the Big 12 this year after Hideli, who's not here. 147.02. Juan Diego Castro has also run 147, although we should note that Yusuf Bizimana has a PR of 146.
And again, another nod to the youth of Kansas. A.J. Green's among the many freshmen this year who have turned some heads, making an impact for that program. He qualifies for today's 800 in the field of 8.
That's right, he was on that distance medley relay last night as well.
We saw Juan Diego Castro yesterday. He's back on the track today despite an injury this summer. Really bounced back with a fire lit under him. Set the school record in this event on this track earlier this year for the Cowboys. And there he is with the flowing mane, with a couple of Cyclones ahead of him. So both high jump pits, shot put, and right now the men's 800 underway in Lubbock.
And that's Jason Gomez of Iowa State out front, leading the pack through 226.7, with Bizimana in 2nd and Alexander Lamong of Iowa State in 3rd.
Yeah, they're hoping Lamong may even have a chance to rise up here for some points for Iowa State.
Now, track fans may recognize Lamong from his previous days at Ohio State. He's also the younger brother of noted runners Peter Lamong at NAU, and of course, Lopez Lamong, U.S. Olympian, multiple-time national champion.
Right now, it's his teammate, Gomez, the sophomore, ahead of your lone Longhorn, Bizimana, who already has 1 goal today. Oh, but this looks familiar.
Now, Lab, Bizimana trying to apply pressure, but Gomez still holding the inside rail, and now starting to make a few strides away. We're still less than an hour and a half removed from that mile race, so Bizimana's got to be feeling that.
Jason Gomez had a little extra in the tank there, but let's see if Bizimana.
Here comes Bizimana. Can he take him to the line? I think that was Bizimana.
We will get our confirmation for the men's 800.
And it looks like Gomez is going to secure the win there, 148.48 to 148.49.
So despite the career best from the freshman Bizimana, it's the sophomore Gomez living up to expectations, taking gold. Juan Diego Castro for the Cowboys takes the 3rd place points, as Lamong makes it 2 of the top 4 to reside in Ames, Iowa.
Wow, great double for Bizimana. Great run today. Gomez also just a sophomore for Iowa State. So this is a young crew up front, the future of the Big 12 in this event.
We'll have a couple years to defend the title. So that's 15 points in that event for Iowa State. Your defending champions on the men's side with a top and 4th place finish.
And Gomez is a first-year runner for Iowa State. Previously competed in Division II for Notre Dame de Namur.
Of course, D2 and D3 this year, a lot of the winter championships will not take place. They're optimistic to get spring championships in. Even Division I, we've seen a reduced field in a lot of sports. The championships, most of them are about 75% of the standard field. Again, men's high jump at the moment, your top 2 screens. Women's high jump, your lower left, bottom right. The men's shot put.
And before joining Iowa State, Gomez had actually never broken 150 before, so already made huge gains under head coach Dave Smith. I'm sorry, Iowa State. Wrong coach. Martin Smith.
Men are still trying to clear the opening height of 1.99. We've so far only seen 5 men do it. Already seen 1 exit. The women have already moved on to their 2nd height of 167. For the men's shot put, that's Patrick Pippery, the younger of the 2 brothers, the sophomore. That's his 4th throw, his 3rd throw. As right now sitting in 11th, his brother sits in the top spot. As this is where we are right now, as most of those individuals still have a 3rd toss to go to before we move on to the 3 rounds of the finals. As the top 9 of these 13 move on with their final 3 throws. And men's high jump, top left. Women in the bottom left.
That's Jack Scarborough for Texas Tech, the junior. now taking over the lead on this field, clearing 6.8 1/4.
Yeah, he becomes the first to get over 2.04, as you mentioned, 6.8 1/4. As that's the new height, with now just 7 men left in contention. I say that, pardon me, there will be 2 more who will enter. And the bar is raised in a bit. Shankar for K-State and Turner for Oklahoma. Scarborough, that was his first pass. He skipped 1.99 straight to 2.04. There's the women's high jump again. Some of this can be deceiving. What's not deceiving is the good old-fashioned art of throwing a heavy object. In a moment, we'll shift our attention back to the oval, as we have some women just about ready to run.
That's right. We're going to see our 1-2 finishers again from Texas, Kennedy Flannel and Kavana Davis, who started the day off on a great note for the Longhorns. And they go 1-2 again in the 200 meters.
We will have, again, as you see there, 2 sections of this women's 200 meter, but these are the finals. Top time, if it holds up, gets you the title. Last year, this is one of those 3 events that Julian Alfred of Texas was able to win. She will not be defending that title here, despite being last year's Female Performer of the Year.
Aria Minor, sophomore at Baylor, is definitely one to watch in this section. She's a sophomore from the University of Georgia, originally from Denver, Colorado, where she was one of the top-ranked youth sprinters in the world. At one point was the #1 ranked 400-meter runner in the world for women under 18.
So about to have 4 events underway on this championship Saturday. Both high jumps, the men's shot put. We'll have the women's 200 followed by the men's. Means a whole lot more points can be racked up in these team tallies, where Texas Tech leads Texas on the men's side 121 to 99. On the women's side, it's the Longhorns 118.5. We're getting close to beating last year's new high mark of points. K-State's women in second right now with 89. Texas Tech's women in third with 86. Women's 200 meters underway. It's the first of 2 sections. Chatfield, the freshman for the Longhorns. The sophomores for Baylor are Minor and Ayers. And the Lone Red Raider, the junior, is Peyton Riggs.
And that's Aria Minor out to a strong start for the Baylor Bears.
Minor the first to cross in this opening section.
23:03. A college best for her. Will it be enough to beat the Longhorns in section 2?
Is half a second better than the next fastest, Peyton Riggs for Texas Tech.
All 4 women in that section set college best.
Yeah, it'd be one thing if they were just season best because of the limited year we've had, but marked improvement. Of course, for Chatfield, a freshman, her first trip to the Big 12 championship. Aria Minor, the sophomore, sets the target at 23:03. We've got some pretty good ones, though, coming up in this next quartet. We've talked about Honor Finley, the senior, earlier today. And, of course, we saw Flannel and Davis go 1 and 2 in the 60-meter dash. See if they can gobble up more points here in the 200. In your top left, again, men's high jump, top right, women's high jump, bottom left, and men's shot put there on the bottom right.
And Honor Finley for Kansas. I'm sure she's glad to be in the fast section this time around. She won her heat in the 400. It wasn't quite enough to get a top 3 spot overall.
So 2 seniors from the Sunflower State. Finley for Kansas. And senior Wildcat, a junior and freshman from Texas. And the freshman Davis for Texas was kind enough to let Flannel take the 60. See if she'll return the favor.
Very different race, the 200.
Time to beat 23:03 here in the Big 12 Championship in the women's 200.
Kennedy Flannel and Kavana Davis for Texas trying to repeat that 1-2 finish from the 60 here in this one-lap race.
Davis on the outside, Flannel in the lead. Kennedy Flannel with a time of 22:55 is your Big 12 champion. A 2-time gold medalist on this championship Saturday.
Setting a new meet record.
Her teammate Davis claims her second silver on the day. Aria Minor, the sophomore for Baylor, takes bronze. Peyton Ricks, 4th for the Red Raiders. And with that, Texas has 137.5 points.
And a 22:55 is going to hold up as the number 2 time in the country this year. Beating her own previous number 2 time of 22:73. So Kennedy Flannel, one of the top women in the NCAA this winter.
Gets a little swag for her effort.
Coach has to be happy with that. So far we've seen Longhorns go 1-2 in the 60, the 200, and the 400 on the women's side.
Allows them to increase their lead over K-State and Texas Tech in the women's standings. That lead has ballooned to 45.5 points now. And yeah, again, that 22.55 is tied for 3rd in the world this year from Flannel. Again, we are still early in the progression for both the men's and women's high jump. Chris Banks for Oklahoma currently sits among those tied for 4th, having cleared 2:04, and he becomes just the 2nd so far to clear 2:08 on his first pass. And his first effort. We'll set up Jack Scarborough with his first try for Texas Tech.
This is Adia Eberly of Kansas, trying to get her first clearance. And
she will exit at 167 after clearing 162 there on her 3rd try, unsuccessful. In the men's shot put, Braden Darrow among those to qualify for a 4th throw. Currently sits in 9th.
that's Maddie Minor of Oklahoma State, a true freshman, just clearing 167, a college best for her.
We're going to do our best to help you keep an eye on these events. What we do recommend is you pull up the live stats if you have an extra device with you. as they will help you monitor whether it be the men's or women's high jumps or the men's shot put. So every now and then we'll focus in on what's going on around the oval. Both the Big 12 website and Big 12 social media have done a nice job making the link pretty easily to find. As that is for the K-State senior able to clear there. Kyle Alcine, he moves up to one of now 4 athletes to clear 2:08. Next height will be at 2.12. Or if you're an NBA fan, 6'11 and a half. Not quite Shaq. And his teammate now finally enters. Shankar, the senior for the Wildcats. That was his first jump after skipping the first 2 of 199 and 204. He enters at 208 and pretty easily able to clear. So the 4th throw underway in the men's shot put. Here's Patrick Larison, the junior. He sits in 6th before that throw with his best throw in the 3rd round of 17.79. And they haven't factored in his last throw just yet.
And here's Trinity Tomlinson of Texas.
That was her first stab at 171. She's the first female to attempt that height now. Currently 14 are still in contention for the women's title. The men's field has been trimmed, I believe, 8. Here's George Evans, the senior for Kansas, with the throw in the bottom right. It's his 4th toss. As Madison Langley Walker will get 2 more opportunities here at 1.71 meters.
And you can see our men's 200-meter finalists are starting to make their way to that start line. Start time 4:40 for that event.
A couple minutes away. Again, split up the 8 men into 2 sections. You know the routine by now. TCU has a couple of formidable entries here. A senior and a sophomore. As in his first section, Makita, the sophomore for the Horned Frogs, Madianga, the senior, the latter of whom won here in Lubbock earlier this year with a time of 20.75, and by doing so actually set the Zimbabwe indoor record for his home country. He has a freshman teammate we won't see among these top 8 named Gregory, who was a close second that day in Lubbock and is a AAU junior Olympian.
Another athlete we won't see today is actually the top-ranked man in the Big 12 this year in the 200. That's Courtney Lindsay for Texas Tech, not competing this weekend.
And we'll just open the door for another standout athlete here in the Big 12. Back to the brothers Pippery in the cage in the bottom right. That's your favorite trip with his 4th throw on the day with 2 more to go. Is 20.8 is your leading toss, but he's had 3 fouls since then. As he's trying to dig deep a little extra. Former national honoree this year. And some Big 12 weekly honors as well. Here's Gabriel Oladipo, the senior for Texas Tech. Currently sitting in 9th.
And this is Marlene Guerrero of Texas. a senior for the Longhorns, successfully clears 171.
Men's 200 about to get underway in the first of two sections. In the top left of your screen there, you're going to hear celebrations at various moments. That time is the men's high jump. One of our 4 events on your screen here on Big 12 Now.
It's one of the advantages of being on your home track. You get the loudest cheers. That was for Caleb Wilborn.
Men's 200 underway. Again, first of two sections. Moss for Texas, Makita and Madienga for TCU, and Shelton for Texas Tech.
And it looks like Shelton of Texas Tech, who we saw win earlier today, just dropped out. It looked like he grabbed his hamstring right after the start.
It'll be Madienga, the senior, who sets the standard at 20.77. Will that hold up for the purple to take gold?
Ooh, yeah, you see that replay. You see Shelton grab his hamstring. You hate to see that. But Madienga and Maketa going 1-2 down the home straight. 20.77 will be the time to watch for section 2.
Madienga, that was just .02 off of that Zimbabwe indoor record he set here in Lubbock earlier this month.
Lubbock is an ideal location for these sprint events. The facility is just over 3,000 feet of elevation, which gives the sprint events a little bit of a performance boost while making the distance events a little bit harder.
Alyssa Miller able to clear on her first try the height of 171. She becomes the 6th woman to do so. That's the 3rd height today for the women.
She's the sister of Aaliyah Miller, who we saw notably win the 800 for the women earlier today.
Nice thing about raising kids like that is you're out there on the track and you have a general idea where they're going to be, whether they're just running in circles.
Yeah.
They'll always come back around to you, or in her case, just jumping over, I guess, high objects. A little more daunting if it's in the house. Again, men's 200 meters top left, men's high jump top right, the women bottom left, and the shot put in the bottom right. The
TCU girl.
Time to beat 20.77 from Madienga in that first section for the 200. Jillian Johnson, the sophomore for TCU, on her first attempt on 1.71 meters. 5 feet 7 1/4. We'll get 2 more tries. We'll set up Trinity Tomlinson, a Texas freshman, the next woman up. In a moment, we'll hear the starter's pistol for the back half here of the men's 200. 2 Longhorns, Caleb Holben, freshman, Mekhi Harris, the senior. Horned Frog and Sooner sprinkled into the mix as well.
And Mekhi Harris of Texas is the defending champion in this event. And he's off to a strong start. That's Mekhi Harris.
And Mekhi Harris running his own race, your Big 12 champion in the 200, outclassing the rest of the field.
20:38 final time, the fastest time in the Big 12 this year.
Marius Smith will take silver. Madienga able to hang on for bronze, as 3 Horned Frogs occupy the top 5. And congratulations to the Longhorn senior, Mekhi Harris. is his best as a Longhorn, and again, the best showing by a Big 12 performer this year.
That's also a Texas school record. The previous Texas record was 20.4.
Those are not easy to come by anymore.
Impressive run for Micaiah Harris.
So on the men's side, those are valuable points for Harris. It pulls Texas within 7 of Texas Tech.
That time's also the second fastest in the NCAA this year.
Longhorns overall claimed 15 points in that event alone. We mentioned the one Red Raider who was in it, exited, did not finish, unable to secure points. So that allows Longhorns to pull within 7 and make things a little more interesting as we get closer and closer to that 4x400 tonight to culminate things. Women's high jump. Here is Long, the junior bear. She's already reached her career best, clearing 167. And let's see if that wasn't her third try at 171, just her second try, so she'll get one more. We have seen so far 7 women clear the current height of 1.71 meters. Now Tony England, the Jayhawk Jr., with her second effort. Inside, you saw Jaquan Hogan with his second try at the men's bar of 2.12. His teammate Caleb Wilborn will now get his second chance at 2.12. So far, just 3 men have been eliminated so far. As we're down to 8 on the men's side in the top right corner. And now Wilborn will have one more chance in a moment as well. 5 men have cleared this height. Braden Darrow for Texas Tech. Among your last 9 standing, that's his final throw. Gabriel Oladipo had his final throw a moment ago. They'll say a foul on Darrow is how he'll end things, finishing 9th. Oladipo will finish 8th. And now it's battle among the last 7 in the cage. Here's Tori Hickel, the senior for Oklahoma State. Already has a career best throw in that first round of 17.43. Has not had a qualifying throw since then. He sits in 7th. They need at least a 17.79 to move up to 6th. And Texas now prohibited favorites. And Tori Hickel, the Cowboy, does finish 7th in the men's shot put. Just 6 men left with their 6th and final throw coming up. Here's Patrick Larson. Also already has registered a collegiate best, 17.86. That was in the 4th round. See if his final throw can move him into a medal. He sits 4th right now. And it'll not be a qualifying throw, a foul. So he will finish just outside of bronze, with 5 more competitors still in contention for the title. And Trip Pippery is still your leader with a 21 flat that he threw in the 5th round. Again, he set a nice mark of 20.8 in his first toss. That's allowed him some breathing room to try to exert a little extra energy. And he nailed it in the 5th. He'll have one more throw if he chooses in the 6th round. See if anybody else can apply pressure on him. Only 4 guys can strip that title away, including George Evans, currently sitting in 6th, the KU senior.
And you can see on your screen the women's 3K athletes starting to make their way to that start line.
Evans with a foul. Will not be able to move into the top 3. So I mentioned Diego Trevino about to go with the throw. And you see in a moment we'll tee up the women's 3K. Here's the final throw in Lubbock for Diego Trevino, the sophomore. He sits in 5th. And will his final throw here in Lubbock be able to elevate the sophomore into the top 3? If not, we know Pippery, Campbell, and Saxon for Texas, Oklahoma, and Iowa State will be guaranteed medals, just not know which color. And Trevino's final throw will move him up to 4th, a 17.92. So Kevin Saxon has a throw coming up, but he's guaranteed at least bronze. Cooper Campbell, Trip Pippery also guaranteed a medal as well. Here's the final throw from the sophomore for Iowa State. His best throw so far, 18.01, already a collegiate best, came on his 2nd throw. And he improved bronze and perhaps convert to silver. Foul will deny him that. So Saxon will finish in 3rd for Iowa State. Now Pippery and Campbell will be your top 2. The question is, what order? Campbell's only qualifying throw came in the 1st round, that 18.15. This is the only chance to dethrone Pippery. Cooper Campbell's final toss, a foul. So he will take silver, Saxon takes bronze, and that man right there is your Big 12 champion. He'll be able to try to improve upon his 21 even that he threw just last round to improve his cushion. And the final throw in the cage comes from the Longhorn senior. In through a 20.8 in the 1st round, improved upon that finally in the 5th round with a 21-meter toss. And a foul in the 6th. Not allow him to add any icing to the cake, but there's your 1, 2, 3 in the men's shot put. Trip Pippery is your Big 12 champion here in 2021. Take a look at his final couple of efforts. Again, a special moment as both he and his brother shared the cage today. Patrick, a sophomore. The elder statesman, Adrian Pippery III. Tripp claims the gold. And we'll shift our attention back to the oval, where there's been so much action today on this final day in Lubbock on the women's 3K.
This is going to be another 2-section final. Most of our top entrants will be in the 2nd section, but I'm guessing due to not having a mark to submit so far this season, we actually have some of our potential top runners in this section right here, including Taylor Rowe, who we saw win the mile in dominating fashion earlier just today. Kaylee McCabe, who outkicked Taylor in that DMR last night, as well as Molly Bourne of Oklahoma State, who got 2nd in the 5K last night. So a lot of big names in the first heat, which is unusual.
Yeah, how's that for a little nuance? And this, unlike other events, that first heat, there's a noticeable difference because there are 29 women in the field of this first heat. That'll be trimmed down to just 16 in the 2nd heat. So there's going to be a little more congestion here. And you mentioned some of our big names are going to try to set the time to beat. And that's simply due to the lack of a seed time and this abbreviated pandemic-affected 2021 campaign indoors.
Yeah, you have to think that the likes of Molly Bourne, Taylor Rowe, as you can see right now, that's Rowe leading the way for us. Gabby Henteman, her teammate, in 2nd. Molly Bourne in 3rd, with Mariana Martinez of TCU in 3rd. Bourne in 4th. But you have to think the Cowgirls definitely talked ahead of time about making sure they set a fast pace from the gun, because the reigning champion, overwhelming favorite, Kaylee Logue, is in that second section. However, she might be running more by herself than these girls are, who have the advantage of working together with their teammates to run a fast time. So the question is, how fast can they go to try and get points on the board? Because I think a lot of our points in this event will come from this heat.
I mean, just think of what is in this first section alone. We've already seen the Israeli freshman for Oklahoma State, Auerbach, claim a gold today. We saw Kaylee McCabe take a gold yesterday, the freshman for West Virginia. We've talked about the expectations for Taylor Rowe, cross-country standout, and Winrose Chasang.
That's right. Actually, some of those women have not started this race. Auerbach has not started the race. So coach said, you won, you got 10 points on the board for us, you're all good.
And gets a breather as a result.
Yeah, this last 3,000 meters, everyone who can run that distance kind of gets thrown into the starting lineup, and then you see who still has energy left to go for it at the end.
I think that's a valid point. Kaylee Logue will just have a couple of fellow Cyclones. Well, she'll have maybe about 5 to run with in that second section.
These girls are setting a pretty quick pace, though. Let's point that out. 74 seconds for that opening 400 meters, so below 5-minute pace. Coming up on 800 meters in 2:30, so keeping up that 5-minute pace, which will be definitely competitive with whatever Kaylee can put together in section 2.
The bar for the women's high jump is currently at 1.75. You just saw Sarah Hankinen become the third to clear that height. Sophomore. Next height for her will be 178. But a few more women have to clear here at 175, including Mullings, the freshman for West Virginia, who's queued up. You're down to just 5 men in the men's high jump. And we saw some of these events in the multi-sports already. But these are your truly trained athletes in the single event. Slightly higher bars. Here's the Cowgirls running 1-2-3. Again, this next month could be very busy for fans in Stillwater, juggling championships in their own backyard for cross country on March 15th, while keeping up with the indoor championships as well in the NCAA.
So as you can see, this section has clearly turned into a 4-woman race with Kaylee McCabe hanging on to the end of the 3 Cowgirls. Kaylee, if you remember, had that great finish in the DMR last night, so we know she has a good kick, and specifically was able to outkick Taylor Rowe, who's leading us right now.
Rowe, who mentioned, of course, used that as motivation for her win earlier today. Rowe already has a silver and a bronze now in these 2 days. He's hoping for another gold here. But this time, Rowe has a little bit of support, strength in numbers, to perhaps help fend off a push from the freshman McCabe. We'll see.
Definitely. And that's not even considering what Kaylee Logue is able to do, the other Kaylee in section 2.
Is Kaylee Logue ever the other Kaylee?
I know. What a surprise. This is pretty interesting. This is an unusual situation where we have 4 of the top women in the slower heat.
These women are trying to ultimately deny Kaylee Logue what would be her 9th individual Big 12 championship. She picked up number 8 yesterday in the 5 kick.
If anyone could do it, though, I think it could be Taylor Rowe. You know, that 4:39 mile PR is pretty elite. And right now, she just passed through 1,400, so the 1,600, so 4:59.33.
Rowe, Hentemann, and Bourne, your Cowgirls, along with McCabe, the freshman, the lone mountaineer. And in the second pack, you've got individuals like the freshman Mariana Martinez for TCU and Catherine Dowie for West Virginia. Moments ago, we saw Trip Pippery become the second Longhorn to win the shot put all 4 years of eligibility. We will finally give some other Big 12 standouts a chance in 2022, allegedly.
So they're on about 9:20 pace right now for 3K, which would be a 15-second PR for Taylor Rowe.
Again, still a lot can change in these high jump standings for the women and men.
You can see Kaylee Logue is kind of signaling around to her teammates. And actually, so it looks like she was pacing her teammates because Taylor Rowe has dropped out. And now that's Gabby Hentemann taking over the lead with Molly Bourne still running in second, trying their best to drop Kaylee McCabe of West Virginia.
So Rowe, after picking up a gold earlier today, says that's good enough to go with my silver from yesterday. Keep your eye on the black and orange of the Cowgirls. They continue to lap competition with Kaylee McCabe behind them. She's about to pass one of her own teammates. In a moment, your top three are going to be isolated in that top left corner of the screen.
And looking at their stats, Gabby Hentemann it doesn't look like she's actually run a 3,000 before, while Molly Bourne's best dates back to the 2019 indoor season, running 9:30 at the Husky Classic. So this is new territory for both of them. And Kaylee McCabe, being a freshman, she has run one 3,000 before, 9:50. So this would be a huge best for her if she's able to hang on to the Cowgirls. Although they are able to put a slight gap ahead of her right now. Still mostly staying on pace. Just another 38, 30. That was actually a 37, just under 38.
We just saw Alyssa Miller for Baylor become the 5th woman to clear 175 today.
Hentemann and Bourne. McCabe still managing to stay in the shot. She's not dropped yet. And actually, she still looks pretty strong. As they come up on the bell lap, I'd be worried about her being on the outside. Looks like she's kind of ready to take over.
It's just dawned on me, if I had eligibility, I would let them lap me a couple of times just to make sure I timed up the finish line right when they passed.
Yeah.
And I could give it a dramatic finish, even though I might be down a couple laps.
And now Bourne is taking over the lead from Hentemann. McCabe passing on the outside. McCabe passing into the lead. They're coming up on the bell lap now. Can the Cowgirls keep her in sight? McCabe is putting the burners on, though, and looks like she's going to take this thing.
Well, Oklahoma State thought they had it figured out with their numbers game, holding off Kaylee McCabe, but she at best was in 3rd gear. And looks to have a lot left in the tank for this final lap. Kaylee McCabe is eyeing her 2nd gold. Mind you, it is about setting the time to beat here in this first of 2 sections of the women's 3K.
Oh, but there comes Hentemann.
Wow.
Wow, McCabe going too soon. Hentemann around the curve into the front. Bourne trying to pick up pace to pass as well. And Hentemann is going to take this section. Wow, what a finish.
Gabby Hentemann.
You got to time it right. 9:22.72 for the Oklahoma State sophomore. And what seems to be her first ever 3K. Outstanding time. Kaylee McCabe hanging on for 2nd in 9:25, and Bourne taking 3rd in 9:26.
That 9:22.72 will be the time to beat for the 2nd section. That'll include defending champ Kaylee Logue. Last year, Logue swept the 5 and 3K. We'll try to do it again.
I think Rose got to be happy with that pace job, helping her teammates to a 1st and 3rd. Barring what Section 2 does, of course.
I'm sure she gets a commission on that.
Yeah.
And if that winds up being a medal finish, shave a little bit off of it. Hentemann, McCabe hoping those numbers hold up along with Molly Bourne. See if they can hang on to a podium finish.
Yeah, to put that time in perspective, that's a 5-minute mile pace for almost doubled the distance. So
here's Hennemann's kick, the sophomore, getting past the West Virginia freshman McCabe.
And she looks so strong at the finish. McCabe, after a perfectly timed kick last night to win that DMR for West Virginia, goes a little bit too early in the 3000. And this time a Cowgirl takes the victory.
And Hentman was among those without a time this year, putting her in that first section. And you just wonder, with as much as she had left there, whether had you put all of the leaders in the same section, whether she would have been able to kick into that extra gear even a little sooner and improve her time. Will 9:22.72 hold up? See the team standings: Texas, K-State, Texas Tech, 1, 2, 3. The battle really is for silver between the Wildcats and the Red Raiders. Men's and women's high jump. The women's bar has just been moved to 178. Madison Langley Walker, the Sooners, the first to attempt it, unsuccessfully though. She's one of 6 women still left competing for the gold. Her teammate Baylin Rowe, a senior. We'll have her stab at it in a moment. Mentioned the men's high jump. It's currently at 2.18 with only 3 men left in contention. Shankar, the senior for K-State, and a couple of Sooners in Vernon Turner and Chris Banks. And we just saw one of their female teammates, Rowe, with her first attempt unsuccessful at 178.
So section 1 has set the bar pretty high.
Yeah, 9:22.72, the time from Hentman, the Cowgirl. And again, a lot of familiar names who we've already seen shine over the past 24 hours plus, all occupying the oval together here.
For comparison, Kaylee Logue's winning time from last year was just 9:28. So that's a 6-second difference. It's also a lot harder to do it by yourself. You know, depending if any of the women in this section might be ready to go for that sort of pace.
Yeah, you assume Kaylee knows where the clock is located. You might take a couple peeks at it. And she takes the tour of the Sports Performance Center here at Texas Tech. You see her mark earlier this year, though. If she could match that, would be good enough to take the gold again. A tight one on the men's side. Likely going to come down to the final event between the host Red Raiders and the Longhorns. Underway with the second section of the women's 3K. All eyes will be on Kaylee Logue, the cross-country champion once again this year. Yesterday defended the 5K, looking to defend her 3K title.
And there's Kaylee out front. Now she knows the time to beat, and she knows she's going to have to do it by herself because she's already putting a significant gap on the field.
Yeah, her teammates, 5 of them, aren't going to be of much help to her.
35 seconds through the first 200, so she's going for it.
This section is loaded with Cyclones, Longhorns, and Jayhawks, and all that tells you is basically they were the ones who were able to get in some competitions during this unique year. So with Kaylee Logue, we'll just continue to watch the clock.
And this is going to be the exact opposite of her 5K win last night, if she manages to pull it off. Last night, she was content to do the sit and kick until she was ready to make her move. Today, she has to go hard from the run, from the gun. And 73 for the first 400. Pretty blazing.
Already 4 seconds better than her own teammate, the freshman Brenna Cahoon. That margin will likely grow.
So she's on pace right now for a 9:07, which would definitely be more than enough to beat 9:22, obviously, but probably a tough pace to keep up. To put it in perspective, that would be 4:52 mile pace.
She's completed 600. Madeline Vondra for Texas now has moved into second among this heat.
Maddie Vondra had a strong 5K run last night, hung on to Kaylee Logue as long as possible, and was able to come away with a podium finish with bronze.
In the top left, you're looking at the final heat of the women's 3K. Kaylee Logue trying to defend her title, trying to claim her 9th individual Big 12 championship in cross country, indoor track and outdoor track. But she has a unique burden this year with no visual evidence of where she stands.
That's right, and she's actually already slowed down a little bit through 800 to 2:31.
Logue has increased her lead on the rest of that pack that finally gets a little camera time. You're more likely to see them in the background of our high jump coverage. As Kaylee Logue now with the monopoly.
This would be quite a way to lose your Big 12 winning streak. It seems a little unfair.
Again, we've seen all sports affected in a variety of ways, some more predictable than others from the events of this past 12 months with the global pandemic. Kaylee Logue a little over a third of the way through. Got through the first K at 3:09, now 1200 at 3:48.20. Vondra, the Longhorn, still holding off some other Cyclones.
That's Brenna Cohoon, a freshman for Iowa State, currently in third. Just hanging on to that chase pack, led by the senior Longhorn, Vondra. And they're about 6-7 seconds behind Kaylee Logue at this point.
Men's high jump is down to 3 men, a pair of Sooners, including Vernon Turner, who's trying to become the first man to clear 2.21. Tries to get a beat going. His two opponents have each been unsuccessful on 2 tries. And all 3 of them will have just one more chance to clear 2.21 before we go to a tiebreaker that would favor the Wildcat Schenker.
5:04 at the 1600 for Kaylee Logue. And she's on pace for a 9:33K at this point, so 8 seconds behind. I think at this point it's going to be tough for her to catch up to that first section's times.
You could argue it would have been better off for her to have never have run this event this year, just working into that first section.
Yeah.
We won't write her off just yet, though. But yeah, the time to beat 9:22.72. And again, she just has no grasp. She's accustomed to people not being in front of her, but she at least can have a sense every now and then peeking over her shoulder. Chris Banks exits the men's high jump at 2:21. Nobody else has cleared it yet. So again, he may find himself in a tie for first, coming down to a tiebreaker that would favor the Wildcat at the moment. See how the women are looking right now. Bar at 1:78. Kaylee Logue now 2/3 of the way through.
6:19 through 2,000 meters. So she's getting a little bit faster. Still probably 6 to 7 seconds off that first section.
Top right, Shankar with his final chance at 2.21 meters, and he's over it. And he, again, initially was looking at winning this on a tiebreaker. At the moment now, has a chance to win it outright. Vernon Turner, the only man left to challenge him for the high jump. The junior Sooner has one more chance at 2:21 to stay alive. Still 5 women competing in the high jump, 3 of whom have already cleared 1.78. Marlene Guerrero, the senior, will have her final opportunity here. And she'll just finish off the podium, exiting her best clearance today, 1.75. And that'll do it for the men's high jump. Vernon Turner will settle for silver. His teammate Chris Banks will take bronze. And Shankar will see the bar raised to 2.24, competing all by himself, already having locked up gold. And this again will continue to focus now in that women's 3K with Kaylee Logue, who's got a little under 600 meters left. And eventually we'll get the clock back for you to put it all in perspective. The time to beat will be 9:22.72 from Hintemann of Oklahoma State.
I think at this point, can Kaylee get on the podium? I don't think she's going to get that 9:22 mark. It'll be a good test to see if she can get in that top 3.
Has never shown any vulnerability in any individual event that we've seen her in, and the problem here is just not being able to put it in perspective of where she stands compared to the rest of the field. Logue with inside 200 meters to go. There's the clock, 9:22.72, the time from Hintemann.
Can Kaylee Logue get on the podium from Section 2? A weird thing to say from this multi-time Big 12 champion, but
Hintemann will be your champion in the 3K. Another gold going the way for Oklahoma State. And as dominant as Logue was there in the second heat, just a unique situation.
So she will miss the podium and take 4th overall. The final time of 9:30.34.
So that means Hintemann and McCabe go 1 and 2. The Cowgirl and the Mountaineer, Molly Bourne, will claim the final spot on the podium. After running in that first section, Kaylee Logue, just off the mark, will miss out on the medal, let alone missing out on what would have been her 9th individual Big 12 championship. And frankly, if she had run with Hintemann looked phenomenal.
She did. She did. She took that tough surge from Kaylee McCabe, didn't let it get to her, bided her time, waited for that right moment, and blasted across the finish line.
We won't pretend that's the only reason that Logue misses out on another gold. Hintemann, tremendous showing. Obviously challenged by McCabe.
Tough to do that by yourself. Certainly, Kaylee Logue's one of the best runners in the NCAA, and if they're all in the same race, it's too bad we can't see them all in the same race. We can leave it at
that. The men's 3K coming up. Perhaps a similar situation. We're going to see names like Isai Rodriguez in the first section, since he has not had a time this year. Wesley Kiptoo slated to go in the second section. Those two battled it out both in cross country as well as yesterday in the 5K. Women's high jump is down to 3 women currently attempting 1.81 meters. All three women have come up short on their first try. Rowe for Oklahoma will be the first to have her second bite at the apple here. Riley Anderson and Sarah Heikkinen, the two others in contention. And we'll have two sections here in the men's 3K. And have to imagine Isai Rodriguez will be among your favorites. Several familiar names. The freshman shot down there at the bottom, already a gold medal with his teammates yesterday in the DMR. Initially 23 men listed for the first section. There's 16 for section number 2. And Wesley Kiptoo will be among them. You saw as the best mark in the Big 12 this year. He broke Kurgat's school record earlier this year and is ranked 4th nationally with that 7.4836. But Mike Lee is going to skip the NCAAs in the indoors to focus on the cross-country championships that are lined up right up against it. We had a chance to talk to Wesley yesterday, JUCO transfer, and that bar is going to hold up for Anderson. Riley Anderson becomes the first of the 3 remaining women to clear 1.81 on her second try. Heikkinen will have a chance as well. Sarah Heikkinen.
So the Texas Tech and Texas men are separated by just 5 points at this point. But if the Texas men can manage to score 16 points in the 3,000, they can clinch the team title. Now that might be asking a lot, but something to keep in mind as we watch this last distance event on the track.
You know, the Longhorns and Red Raiders will somehow factor into the top 2 finishes. This is one of 3 events remaining for the men. And one of those is, I believe, the high jump that essentially is complete. Yeah, all that's left after this, with high jump already basically complete, you've got the 3K as well as the 4x400. As you noted, chance for the Longhorns here to try to claim that men's team title, to take perhaps a couple of trophies back to Austin. And officially, men's high jump is still underway, so a couple of Red Raiders still haven't had their points factored in just yet for the team totals. If you see them flash up on the screen, they'll wait until Shankar is done with that event to officially put those points into their respective columns. First of 2 sections in the men's 3K. And Isai Rodriguez, last 2 years, has finished 2nd in cross country to some Cyclones, Kurgat, and more recently Kiptoo. Kiptoo will be in the 2nd section here today. Of course, Kurgat out of indoor eligibility. We'll see him in the outdoor sport. Rodriguez yesterday was 2nd in the 5K as well, and he's going to move up with a lot of friendly faces for this Cowboys team. 5 of them up front at the moment.
Starting out high, 31 for that opening 200. It looks a lot like the women's race where we had the 3 cowgirls working together at the beginning of the 3K.
We're getting closer and closer to finalizing the women's high jump as well, as we'll get a peek at it. It's down to 2 women. Only Riley Anderson has cleared 1.81 meters. Sarah Heikkinen will have her final chance, while some of her male teammates right now running 1 through 5 here in the men's 3K. And again, same burden for them, set a time, like their teammate Henchman did on the women's side. So here's Sarah Heikkinen, the sophomore, her last chance to advance past 181. She's guaranteed at least silver today, and that's where she will settle. Hackenen will take silver. Phelan Rowe for Oklahoma will take bronze. That guarantees Riley Anderson, the Jayhawks, gold. She will have the chance to advance the bar and see how high she can go, but Anderson, the class of the Big 12 here in 2021 in the women's high jump. As we'll take a look back at the oval with men's 3K.
And that's still Alex Stitt of Oklahoma State leading the Cowboys, leading 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Cowboys, a whole cross-country team, through 800 meters in 2:07. Now, I do wonder if they're employing the same tactic where one goes out as a rabbit, paces them to a fast enough time where Section 2 cannot respond. We saw Taylor Rowe, I think, led them through about a mile before she hopped off the track.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't bring Taylor Rowe back out for this.
Yeah, she did such a good job. So Alex Stitt is a true freshman, so I have a feeling that's what they're doing.
Again, I have to imagine Isai Rodriguez, who's been running third, will be your candidate to make that push eventually.
That's right. We saw it last night in the 5K. Isai Rodriguez and Alex Mayer took second and third to Wesley Kiptoo, but they were separated. Isai Rodriguez ran 13:55 and Mayer ran 14:07. So there is a slight gap there.
Yeah, Rodriguez has already moved to second behind Stitt. Mayer shopping pretty behind him.
It would be incredible if this actually worked, because I think out of anyone currently in the Big 12, Isai Rodriguez has taken runner-up honors at more Big 12 championships than just about anybody. However, Wesley Kiptoo seems totally fine running a time trial by himself, so not exactly the same situation with Kaylee Logue, who struggled to keep pace. And as you can see, Alex Stitt now walking off the track, Isai Rodriguez taking over the lead.
The next time you see us put up 5 names, Stitt's not going to be there anymore, as he dropped back for Rodriguez and will now slowly fall behind everybody else's. Again, he has exited after running the early pace. There's Isai Rodriguez, who's a little too accustomed to looking at a cyclone ahead of him. Now all of a sudden he's your leader, and it's him against the clock, trying to set a time, just hoping for that quirky dynamic that we saw on the women's side involving the same 2 schools.
That's right, so 4:17:10 is the time through 1600. So they're about on pace for 7:50, about 8 minutes. And Isai Rodriguez has actually run faster than that. He's run a 7:54. Again, that was in a pretty competitive field, so this is always harder to do by yourself.
A little over 800 meters now that Rodriguez has been running in the lead. The freshman Shop, his teammates moved up behind him in second. Pretty and Meyer, and then the first non-Cowboy is off to Knight, the sophomore Longhorn, back in 5th, 10 seconds back of the trailing Cowboy.
And Wesley Kiptoo, who will feature in the second section, has run 17:48 before. So if he's capable of running 13:42 by himself, I would think he probably can do the same in the 3K. But the Isai Rodriguez now lapping runners, chasing down anyone he can see, is going to give him his best go from section 1. So he's currently 5:21 through 2K.
Yeah, a little over 2/3 of the race has been run now. You see your women's champion in the high jump, Riley Anderson. That was her second attempt at 1.84. She'll have one more go at it. She's already locked up the gold. Silver went to Hackenen of Oklahoma State. Rowe of Oklahoma took bronze.
Rodriguez still running just over 8-minute pace for 3K. I think if he wants a shot at taking home the overall title, he'll probably have to dip under that 8-minute barrier. Again,
I think the women's race really put into perspective the burden on some of your favorites in a format like this. So if Wesley Kiptoo does manage to win this event in that second section, it'll increase the appreciation even more so of what he would have been able to do. Will this finally be the time that Isai Rodriguez captures gold in a distance event after settling for so much silver?
And that's a new face right now, Ryan Shoppy.
We talked to the freshman yesterday, part of that relay win.
That's right, he's hanging on the shoulder of Rodriguez and actually looks pretty strong right now. Now he's leading. Ran a fantastic anchor leg last night against University of Texas to take home that DMR win. The true freshman from Oklahoma State.
So now the question is this part of the plan, or is the freshman eyeing perhaps gold? Final lap, freshman Shop perhaps will be setting the time to beat. Isai Rodriguez falling back a bit. This was your anchor in yesterday's DMR win for Oklahoma State. And it looks like he has a lot left in the tank, and he's not taking any chances with that clock. What kind of time can he set to challenge Wesley Kiptoo in that second section?
And he's going to cross just over 8 minutes. 8:01.65 final time for Ryan Shop. Great finish, great last 600 meters for him. Isai Rodriguez finishing in 8:07.28. Alex Mayer, 8:13. I mean, no matter what happens with Wesley Kiptoo in Section 2, the Cowboys have put up some pretty solid times.
Well, the freshman has just set a new record for this facility. A 9-year-old mark.
Wow.
It falls by more than 5 seconds. So Isai Rodriguez finishes about 5.5 seconds behind his freshman teammate. Oklahoma State goes 1, 2, 3 again. That's the first section. We've got a few more brand names coming your way in the second section. And we will see what Wesley Kiptoo has in mind.
Great meet this weekend for Ryan Shop, the freshman.
I have a feeling we'll be saying his name quite a bit over the next few years in Big 12 competitions. So Riley Anderson, ultimately with a mark of 181, is officially your Big 12 champion in the women's high jump. She exits at 184 when she was all by her lonesome. So the junior Jayhawk Big 12 champ. Looks up, bar still intact. And that's a gold medal going her way back to Lawrence. Both high jump golds will go back to the Sunflower State. Shankar of K-State winning on the men's side. As Anderson, Eberly, and England, the trio who competed in today's finals. I mentioned the team standings. Longhorns right now leading both. Texas men just a 2-point edge on Texas Tech. And on the women's side, the Longhorns probably already start boxing up that big trophy. For a 4th straight year, for a 7th time in the last 8 years, for a 24th time in their collegiate program's history indoors.
Texas women really showing why they're the class of the Big 12.
All right, so here is the second batch of our men's 3K, highlighted by Cyclones and Longhorns. Wesley Kiptoo is your favorite.
And something to remember, very close team battle right now between Texas and Texas Tech on the men's side. If the Longhorns can manage to put 16 points on the board in this event, they would clinch the team title. I think that might be a bit of a tall order, but definitely something that they are probably thinking about as they go into this event.
There's your cross-country champion in his first year with Iowa State, junior college transfer. Your 5K champion decisively yesterday. He immediately slipped it into 5th gear at the start yesterday in the 5K. And we'll see what his thoughts are after seeing a freshman set a pretty impressive mark of 8:01.65. And Kiptoo earlier this year set the Iowa State mark that had been set by teammate Kurgat. And right now sits 4th nationally at a 7:48.36. Obviously, that would easily claim the gold for him if he could flirt with that kind of number again. This is likely his last indoor event of 2021. And so he'll shift focus back to cross country afterwards. And that should do it as Kiptoo takes the lead, and presumably it'll be his lead to hang on to.
Wow.
Obviously, you contrast that with the last race where you had 5 cowboys running together, pacing each other. Kiptoo has a similar burden that his female teammate Kaylee Logue had. Will he be able to execute?
Yeah, I mean, we saw him do this last night in the 5K, so I think he has no problem time trialing himself to very elite times. The gloves are on. He's ready to go. Definitely showing why. He's also off to a really fast start.
Sub-minute, 400.
59.9 through 400.
You see how much of a wedge he's already created. And Avila Martinez, Morris, Gomez, the Longhorns in that next grouping. So Kiptoo making his way around. Oh, we saw our final women's field event. Riley Anderson with a mark of 1:81, the only woman able to clear the bar. And the junior Jayhawk will take the title back to the Sunflower State. JoJo, we're talking with the champion.
Congratulations. How does it feel to win a Big 12 title today?
Feels pretty good. My goal was just to come out and jump well and jump 181, which I did, so I was happy with that.
Do you have any criticism or critique of your performance today? How would you evaluate it?
I think I did pretty well overall. I think I just have to focus on doing the simple things right and attacking every bar. And
thinking about this past year, all the challenges everyone has gone through in 2020, what does it mean to you to bring home a Big 12 title?
It definitely means a lot since training has been kind of different and it's harder to train with everyone together. So this is definitely something special and I'll remember it for a while, forever.
Congratulations, Riley. Great job today.
Riley Anderson, your champion here in 2021. Best mark in the Big 12, her best mark on the season. And you heard her mention, had her eye on that 1:81. Able to come through with the title for the Jayhawks. Wesley Kiptoo. That margin continues to grow, better than 13 seconds through the first 1,000.
Almost a better use of our time might be to think about the chase pack and how they might place against that first section. I think Wesley Kiptoo obviously is running away with this thing. But behind him, Abraham Avila Martinez, the freshman at Texas, is leading that chase pack. We'll see in just a moment what their 1,200 split is, but they were 2:45 through 1,000 meters. Here we go, a 3:18 through 1,200. So right now they're at about 8:15 pace. So it looks like our Oklahoma State guys from Section 1 will probably factor into that podium standings, second and third place, but we'll see if the Texas trio are able to ratchet down the pace.
And again, after seeing the women's race unfold the way it did, it just gives you added appreciation of what Wesley Kiptoo perhaps will be able to pull off here.
That's right.
Again, this is his first full season as a Cyclone. And let's check back in with one of the Red Raiders who's really hoping that they will wind up doing enough in these final couple of events to edge out Texas for the men's title. Jojo?
Congratulations on the win today. I know you had a busy hour between that mile final and the 1,000 final. Can you take us through that experience a little bit? How are your legs feeling for the 1,000?
First of all, I wasn't prepared to run the Big 12 championship because all my focusing is I'm focusing more for the nationals, and I'm doing more workouts for the 800 meter, and so today and yesterday was only my workout because I have been lifting the day before, and I ran the mile first and then the 1,000. So I got second in the mile and I went the 1,000. It wasn't hard for me because as much as I go fast, it's gonna be easy for me to finish. And it was like a very good, yeah, it was like a very good teamwork. I was going to kick at the last 200, but as soon as I see my teammate coming behind me, I just waited for him to come so I can encourage him, to follow me and get at least the second place.
Awesome, that was really exciting to watch. Congratulations on the win today, and good luck at the Nationals.
Thank you so much.
Getting that win is a big part of Texas Tech men right now being up by 5 with officially 2 events to score, including this 3K being one of them. And we will see how it all plays out. Wesley Kiptoo again.
Okay, so we're coming in on the home stretch here in the 3,000 meters.
Again, the 18th event that will be scored is this 3K, and then we'll be down to the 4x400.
And right now, Kiptoo's on pace to break 750, which is pretty close to his PR. His PR is 748. I mean, we talked about this earlier. He was able to PR in the 5K last night all by himself, as he's doing right now, running 13:42, and clearly has no problem doing the same thing in the 3,000 meters.
His teammate Nahemi, too, is running third right now in this section, sandwiched in between the Longhorn freshman Yassine Abdallah, who's been running about 20 seconds back of Kiptoo.
And if the Texas Longhorns want to clinch this men's team title, they've got to put points on the board in this 3K ahead of that 4x4 showdown with Texas Tech.
Got our man Nathan on camera, and his only instructions is just follow Wesley Kiptoo for a few thousand meters. He's been able to do exactly that. Easier said than done for the rest of this competition. And Yassine Abdallah, followed by Nehemiah 2, running second and third in this section. Wesley Kiptoo on his final lap. And Wesley Kiptoo will take a convincing 3K finish with a time of 7:57.29.
Wow. So it actually ended up being pretty close. A lot closer to Ryan Schopp's winning time from Section 1, who ran 8:01, than the women's race.
No. It was just going to run because I already raced yesterday, and today was just going out and run. Yep.
Now, can you tell us about the gloves? Is it cold in the facility?
Oh yeah, I usually wear because my hands get cold, and no matter what, I just keep on.
It must be tough to
Yep.
train at Iowa State sometimes. It's so cold there.
Yeah, but I like it.
You like it? Yeah, well, you're obviously doing
Yep.
fantastic. Congratulations on the double gold this weekend. And can't wait to see what you can do at the national championships.
Thank you so much.
And Wesley Kiptoo, I think the next time we see him will be over in Stillwater at the Cross Country Championships on March 15th.
He's definitely established himself this weekend as one to watch. I think there's definitely a chance that he could repeat Edwin Kurgat, his teammate's feat from 2019, being the NCAA cross country champion, and keep that individual crown in Ames, Iowa.
Just think, in Manhattan this spring, Kurgat and Kiptoo will be teammates.
I know. I'm very curious to see what the spring races are like, because we've seen them both do the similar things individually, but to have them on the track at the same time.
Kurgat among the athletes with eligibility outdoors, but not indoors. We continue to talk to champions here on Championship Saturday, but it was Tuesday Tidwell who claimed her title, the senior Baylor, yesterday in the pole vault. She was the lone woman to clear 4.37, as we'll let JoJo talk with the member of the green and gold who claimed gold.
Congratulations. How does it feel to win a Big 12 title this weekend?
Thank you. It feels really good. It was a very stressful meet, but we worked through it.
Can you tell us a little bit more about that? Why was it stressful?
So the entire time I was not placed first until the very last bar, last attempt. I had 2 bars that were third attempts, and that's very stressful because the first one was the very first opener, so if I didn't clear that, then I was going to no height and have no points at all for my team, so it can be very stressful.
And you've come in second at the Big 12 Championships a couple times. So to finally come away with the victory, congratulations. Great job this weekend. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
So congratulations to the senior. As she mentioned, almost exited at 4:02, then 4:12 on her third try, got over. But again, she stood alone after clearing 4.37. We are underway with the women's 4x400. This is the final women's event here in 2021. This is your first section with the Sooners, the Mountaineers, Cyclones, Cowgirls, and Horned Frogs, occupying the 5 lanes.
And Oklahoma State, the Cowgirls out to the early lead. It's Erica Furbeck in front. Successful handoffs. That was a 54.85 first leg.
Clay Ali is the Cowgirl now, enjoying that advantage out in front, ahead of Kalita Williams for TCU. Running 1 and 2 right now. Again, this is your first of 2 heats. We'll see the remaining 5 women's programs in heat number 2, Kansas Tech, K-State, Texas, and Baylor.
So that first handoff was actually Tori Ortiz to Kalea Ali for Oklahoma State. Ali keeping that lead.
And now the third leg with Nicolette Dixon for OK State.
That was a 55 split.
And coming up in final trip for Dixon, trying to hang on to this lead. Trying to hold off a surging Iowa State with Bria Barnes running second right now in this third leg. TCU's Jasmine Muhammad Graham holding on to third right now. Again, your first of two sections here in this final women's event of 2021. And the anchor leg has the baton, Christina Olesen. Cyclones running second. And Horned Frogs in third.
And it looks like this race is going to be all about the Cowgirls.
And it, again, will be a matter of will their time hold against the next five group of women. So Christina Olesen's going to try to help the Cowgirls go wire to wire in our first heat. A time of 3:38.34 will be the time to beat.
It's a nice 53-20 split for Christina Olesen as they try and score some major points today.
Let's talk to one of her teammates, not here in the 4x400, but a young freshman in Auerbach who picked up the victory in the 1,000 meters to claim gold today.
Congratulations, that was a really exciting race. What were your thoughts going into it? Did you think you were capable of winning today?
I definitely hope so. I haven't had very consistent training over the last few weeks, and I wasn't really sure what I was capable of, but I went in optimistic and hoped for the best.
Were you having some injury issues?
No, just regular sickness.
Gotcha. So came back just in time. Running right behind the defending champion in an off distance. What do you think about the 1,000? Do you like the 1,000? Is this your new favorite event?
It definitely is my favorite event. It is. I like the fact that it's not Olympic, so it doesn't have the pressure. But I knew Cassidy was a great talent, and I knew that she would probably take it from the start. And my just hope was to hang with her as long as I could.
How did you decide when to make your move?
I was sort of worried that if I made it too early, she would come back on me. So I kind of waited, and finally I realized if I don't go now, then it's over. So I just tried my best.
Well, it was perfectly timed. Great race. Congratulations, and thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
And part of the great performance today by Oklahoma State's women, who have launched themselves all the way into second place behind Texas with 98 points ahead of K-State and Texas Tech's women. Of course, the Longhorn women are now taking the track for the final time. The 4x400 is their symbolic victory lap to what looks to be another Big 12 women's title. They will reign supreme for a fourth straight year. Looking to add more points. Last year they had a little in excess of 180, 180.33 to set a new team tally total in the Big 12. Let's see if anybody can deny them the 4x400 that most recently won last year. With names like Alfred and Jaworski, this year the Longhorns go with Adeleke, Williams, Simon, Patterson, three of whom we've seen shine already today.
Something the Longhorns might also be thinking about is improving their season's best in the 4x4 to make sure that they qualify for the national championships to be held later in March. Right now their season's best in the 4x4 is 3:32.64, a time that ranks number 8 in the nation.
And Longhorns have already locked up now with this year's title 7 of the last 8 Big 12 women's crowns, 4 straight. Now their 24th conference indoor title for the women.
Texas definitely has a great tradition in the 400, training 400 runners and in these 4x4s.
They're going to be joined out there by Baylor, K-State, Texas Tech, and Kansas. And what will be a battle perhaps for moving into a silver position at the expense of Oklahoma State, whom we just saw. K-State is 3.5 points back of second. Texas Tech right now is 5.5 points back of tying Oklahoma State for second. Women's 4x400, second and final heat. This is the final time to see the women here in Lubbock compete in a Big 12 championship event in 2021.
Another interesting note about the Texas 4x4 is two of their women, the leadoff leg, Adelecki, and anchor Patterson, are both originally from Ireland.
Again, we had a chance to see the latter of the two, Patterson, already claim a gold today. So Francis for Baylor with the early advantage on the opening leg ahead of Adelecki.
Was it too much too soon as Adelecki for Texas tries to stalk her down?
You kind of feel like you're playing with house money. Why not go for it?
And it looks like Adelecki could overtake her. Not enough track. Baylor is going to bleed into this first exchange.
Yeah, Aria Minor will take the advantage. Stacey Ann Williams will try to catch up with her.
That was a 53-11 split for Francis.
And that Baylor lead still holding strong. Not quite midway through.
So Aria Minor, I believe, is their top 400-meter runner. I think the goal here, well, actually Francis is their top runner. So Baylor is doing the opposite as Texas, front-loading their talent, trying to get a lead, hoping they can run away from Texas.
This is the lap that Honor Finley is in, the second leg of Kansas. Perhaps their best chance to make up any ground. You see Williams still trailing as she hands it off to Kennedy Simon, but Lily Williams for Baylor again continues to inherit that lead for the women of Waco.
That was a 52-04 split for Minor. Have a very healthy lead right now, but Kennedy Simon, oh no, sorry, that's Stacey Ann Williams there. I think they switched the lineup. We saw her run under 52 seconds earlier today. One of the best talents in the NCAA right now.
And we are getting closer to that final handoff to the anchor. For Baylor, it'll be Tatiana Sanders. Texas has Patterson queued up. Baylor has held the lead so far, wire to wire. Sanders with the advantage, entering this anchor leg ahead of Patterson. But perhaps not for long.
There goes Texas.
Patterson eyeing another gold on this championship Saturday. It would be the culmination of another team title today for the Longhorns women's program.
And it looks like Texas has switched up their lineup, and that, I believe, is Kennedy Simon, not Patterson, on the anchor leg. So that's another 51 talent.
Sanders still with a little extra in the tank for Baylor.
Wow, what a race. Can Baylor hold her off?
The final event of 2021 indoors, the 4x400 championship is headed to Waco.
Wow.
Francis, Minor, Williams, and Sanders get the job done. They edge Texas by a full second. 3:31.90 as Baylor, Texas. What a battle, but the strategy for the Bears pays off. And K-State will take bronze.
And our winners, heat winners from Section 1, Oklahoma State, 3:38.34. That will be good enough for 4th. So faster than 2 of the teams that were in this section.
So Baylor puts up the best time in the Big 12 this year. They claimed the final championship here in Lubbock. Bears as a team on the women's side will finish 5th. Texas Tech is your University of Texas is your champion on the women's side with 154.5 points. Oklahoma State will take silver as a team. K-State will take 3rd as a team. Texas Tech in 4th here on their home track. But what a job by the quartet for Baylor.
Baylor's another school known for breeding great 400-meter runners, so maybe they weren't the favorites coming in, but you know, you can't be too surprised when Baylor wins a 4x4. That was a great run.
And that was Lily Williams on the anchor leg, crossing the finish line first.
It's a 53.86 anchor leg split. So the top split of that was Aria Minor on that second leg for Baylor in that 52.04.
So just as the women finished with the 4x400, we're about to do the same with the men. First of 2 sections.
Now, while the women's race was pretty clear-cut, team battle-wise, Texas has had a lead pretty much all day. The men's race is really close. Right now, Texas has 131 points. Texas Tech has 129 points. So
what we won't see is the Red Raiders and the Longhorns on the track at the same time. Texas Tech here in this first heat is 2 points back of Texas. As this is what you're looking at. Everybody else fighting for bronze. As the Longhorns are looking for their 9th Big 12 title. But a little bit of a drought indoors since 2017 here in the Big 12 for the Burnt Orange. There'll be spectators during this first heat. See, Ryan Champlin will get things started for Texas Tech. But the woman who finished it all, again, for Baylor, ultimately getting the job done there, Lily Williams. What a bright spot. She and all of her teammates together, and I believe we'll have a chance to talk to Aria Minor, or pardon me, with Miller.
Congratulations, ladies. That was an incredible finish. What were your thoughts heading into this meet, knowing that Texas women are always pose such a challenge in that 4x4?
Yeah, well, we just wanted to make sure that we all ran our hardest run and drop a fast time, so it was really nice to cross the finish line and see that 3:31 on the board.
And Aaliyah, this is your second Big 12 title of the day. How does it feel in your senior year to take home 2 Ws?
Oh, it feels so great, especially having to sit out and watch this last year. I just really thought, it was really nice to come back and contribute and bring the title back to Waco.
Has the challenges of 2020 and the pandemic given you any different perspective on track and field and athletics?
No, not really. It just makes you want it even more. It makes you want to grind and not take anything for granted. So that's something that we've all been reminding each other as a team. And when it counts to show out like today, we did.
Well, congratulations, ladies. Great job today. Can't wait to see you guys here next.
Thank you.
So that, again, your winning team for Baylor in the 4x400. As K-State leading the way for the men right now. About a second faster than Texas Tech. And right now, K-State could do the Longhorns a bit of a favor in the overall picture on the men's side. As Ryan Champlin wrapping up that opening leg. Kyle Gale's certainly been a fun one for K-State to follow in his journey.
It was a 45-78 split for Kyle Legg on that Kyle Gale on the second leg for K-State, helping them to a healthy lead with 2 legs to go.
Shankar and Wilson are slated to be the back half of this 4x400 for K-State. One of whom just got done winning a field event. I believe that's Chancellor Stevenson trying to help close the gap, handing off to Cephas. I believe that's Sean Wilson for K-State.
Wow, now this is a battle. This is why we love the 4x4. Some elbows, some bows getting thrown.
If you're a fan of NASCAR, you're okay with it.
Josiah McInnes trying to show out on his home track here in Lubbock, Texas for Texas Tech.
Sean Wilson was able to hold off the first pass attempt, trying to get it to his anchor. Wilson will cross with the time. The question is, will it be good enough? 3:08.84.
And while we're watching that team battle, Texas Tech's time 3:09.35.
Yeah, excellent point there. Tech needs to finish better than Texas to have a chance. That is going to be a challenge for them to overcome the Longhorns, presumably. Unless there's some sort of surprise here in the second section. So K-State sets the bar at 3:08.84. And again, we've had a chance to talk to several Longhorns here on Championship Saturday for the women, as they have officially locked up their 4th straight team title. Icing on the cake was the 4x400. As we'll check in with Ms. Williams.
Congratulations on your 400 win today. What does it mean to you to run a 51.6?
Honestly, I really wanted to break my PR, so I'm really happy I was able to go out there and run a new PR.
And this is your first time under 52, right?
Correction, 51,
okay.
and yes.
Okay, awesome. You know, how do you come back from a tough 400 meters and get ready to run that 4x4 not too much later?
Honestly, I think that's all we basically do in practice, do it over and over again, so we'll be ready when we get out here.
How many 400s will you run in a practice session?
Maybe like 6, probably split sometimes.
Okay, so just 2 in a day. That wasn't that bad.
Yes.
Well, congratulations. What are your goals for nationals?
I want to, for sure, be in the podium, but we'll cross that bridge and we'll get there.
Okay. Still have a few weeks to train and prepare. Well, congratulations. Enjoy the Big 12 title today. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So again, a member of the women's team title for the Longhorns, who finished with 154.5 points. Baylor, of course, took that final event, the 4x400 on the women's side. A fantastic showing. Longhorn men are hoping to do just enough here in the 4x400 to make Texas the first team in 6 years to win both the men's and women's titles. Last team to do it, Texas Longhorns, back in 2015. They have a 2-point cushion over the Red Raiders. Again, obviously, even without gold, they could still end Texas Tech's hopes if they just do better than the Red Raiders' 3:09.35 time. But they have a little higher aspirations in this final event to go out in style.
That's right. I think when you go to Texas, the goal is always to win.
So the scheduled foursome are John Moss, Micaiah Harris, Charles Brockman III, and Wellington Wright for Texas. as TCU, Baylor, Oklahoma joins them here in the 4x400. Again, a lot for Texas Tech. A nice showing considering the fact that a lot of their sprinters are out of indoor eligibility, but we'll see them back in the outdoor game. That includes a lot of the members of the 2019 national title team. This is your final men's event in 2021 in the Big 12 Indoor Championships, men's 4x400.
And we just have 3 teams here as Baylor has scratched. So TCU, Texas, and Oklahoma. 3:08.84 is the time to beat.
Demarius Smith leading off for Oklahoma. Blake Hennessy for TCU. Right now with the advantage. TCU, your defending champions in the 4x400.
And that's Smith passing into second, rounding the bend into first. Mass is going to try and ride that wave.
Oklahoma, a couple of neat wins in the 4x400 this year.
And this is Micaiah Harris for Texas on the second leg, our 200-meter champion from earlier today. And he's going to try and get Texas back in contention, but that's Marianga for TCU in front right now.
It's his third year part of this 4x400, a 3-time All-American, both indoors and outdoors, leading the way for the Horned Frogs.
Harris trying to come up. Marianga's kind of running on the very outside edge of lane 1 to prevent him from passing. It's all about the tactics.
And the Horned Frogs will be the first to make that exchange.
Now we have some splits for you. That was a 47-35 opening split for Hennessy of TCU and a 46-06 for Marianga, as Charles Brockman of Texas now runs on the outside of David Seat.
Brockman still trying to give Texas that first lead. Seat able to hold him off on the most recent turn.
Seat with the advantage of that inside lane, but Epps of Oklahoma trying to come up on the outside.
Oh,
Brockman starting to edge ahead.
What a finish we're in for. Texas makes the first exchange to Wellington Wright, the anchor.
And this shows you the importance of a strong practice handoff, because those 3 teams were all right next to each other, and now Texas has a decisive lead on the field.
Wellington Wright and his teammates already know that they are your Big 12 champions as a team overall on the men's side after the women did the same. But trying to add on those final points and go out with the final team title. The 4x400.
Ethan Brown trying to come up on the outside. Wright trying to hang on. And Wright is going to take it, securing the 4x4 title as well as the overall team title at the Big 12 Championships for the Longhorns.
Time of 3:07.2 for the Longhorns, edging TCU with their time 3:07.33.
And both of those times will hold up, as well as Oklahoma's time as faster than our first section winners, K-State at 3:08.84.
So the final team tally for Texas, 141 points. They have swept the Big 12 team titles for the men and women. First time any school has done that since the Longhorns in 2015. Texas Tech men will take silver as a unit. Oklahoma finishes third with their 89 points. Again, on the women's side, it was Texas, OK State, along with K-State, going 1, 2, and 3. Congratulations to the Longhorns program. They will be taking both of those big titles back to Austin. Haas, Harris, Brockman, and Wright, the winning formula for the Burnt Orange tonight. Again, Texas just made it close. This is where it would ultimately get interesting, and it was that final handoff so critical heading into the anchor leg.
Yeah, I almost I want to watch it again, because I don't understand.
Once Wellington Wright was given the lead, ultimately would never look back.
And actually, if you look at the splits, we're going to take a quick break.
We'll step aside. When we come back, we will have a couple of trophies awarded. It'll be a very happy bunch from the 5-1-2 38 champions. A couple of team trophies to hand out. Moment ago in the men's 4x400, our final event of the night, Wellington Wright was the last man to hold the baton. He'll be the last man to hold the microphone as well as he chats with JoJo.
Congratulations on the win tonight. Now you've got to take us through that final handoff, because it seemed like you guys were neck and neck with TCU, and then just in that final handoff, you guys were able to run away with it. Tell us, can you walk us through that?
Yeah, it was a hard experience. We were trying ourselves just to finish. Our coach was telling us all we had to do was carry the baton around and we would win. But we can't just win the team title. We also got to win the 4x4. That's the most important race. So we got to finish strong.
Yeah, there's always a lot of personal pride on the line in that 4x4. What does it mean to you in your first season at UT to win this for the Longhorns?
First, I got COVID in the beginning of the season, so it was a struggle. I was praying that I would just be able to get in shape before a conference, but hey, things happen. So I'm just glad that I was able to do it with the team that I love and carried it around with my guys.
Awesome. What does it mean to be a part of a conference title winning team?
It means the world. I transferred from a smaller school in Tennessee, and just to be able to come here and do something great, that's all I wanted to do, and I'm very thankful for it.
What are the goals ahead for the Longhorns?
We're trying to get as many to the Olympic trials.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on the Big 12 title today, and good luck. We'll look forward to following you guys the rest of the year.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
So again, that's John Moss, Micaiah Harris, Charles Brockman III, and Wellington Wright, the winning anchor. And it was all about that final handoff to Wellington. Once he was given the advantage, entering the anchor leg, he did his part, closing things out. And you'll forgive us if the rest of this broadcast looks like a whole lot of burnt orange on your screen. That is because the women did what they do. Their 24th conference indoor title, 7 of the last 8 Big 12 titles, their 4th straight. And the men are going to join them for the first sweep by any school since back in 2015 when this same program able to do it. We're going to take one final break. When you rejoin us, we've got a couple of trophies to hand out as University of Texas will take both the women's and men's team honors